Hi everyone, hello. Welcome to another spooky campfire stories ASMR. It's been a little bit because I had to cancel the one before this due to some in real life stuff. And sorry if you hear my mic, I'm kind of adjusting it, getting it right where I want it to be. How's everyone doing today? I'm gonna try to keep up kind of a quieter voice for this. Let me move in a bit. So today, in lieu of the glitch in the matrix stories, because even though, so first of all, let me explain to you guys what that is. Glitch in the matrix are a type of spooky story that allegedly actually happened to someone. So they're supposed to be something that really happened. They're not like completely made up or whatnot. And it's supposed to be where reality glitches, as the name implies. And like, for example, a really simple one I gave as a sample to everyone yesterday was somebody was eating chocolate ice cream and they dropped it on their arm or leg or something. And it made a certain like shape, as melted ice cream does. And when they cleaned it off, there was still a mark there, but there had never been a mark there before. And when they asked from their parents, they're like, oh yeah, you've always had that birthmark. So it's stuff like that. It's like weird stuff that happens that can't really be explained, but people swear it happened. But despite the fact of that, I still didn't want to, you know, disrespect anyone who was telling those stories, and who knows if I'd actually be able to get permissions because some of the people might not even be around. It's the same case as the other one. I forget the other Reddit spooky subreddit. So anyway, so just to be safe, I was like, let's just do stuff that I know we can do, and I hope that will be okay, and hope you guys aren't too disappointed. But yeah, I just had to be very careful, extra careful. Oh. And hello Pizza Queen and Lost Victorian, you guys are adorable and hilarious. So we are going to be doing a few spooky stories I had left over from when I was reading Skyrim spooky stories to you guys, and then I'm going to go back to SCP and maybe we'll end on some Lovecraft, some shorter Lovecraft stories. Or maybe we could do Poe. It's up to you guys. As long as SCP-173 hugs me tight, it's fine. Well, actually, let me invite him in here. He should be around here somewhere. 173, where are you, buddy? Where are you? Get in here, you little rascal. Shrink you down. Whee! He's very tiny. Where can he go? Could be hiding out there. He could join us around the fire. Yeah. He can go sit. He can sit with you guys. There we go. 173 has arrived. And you guys are here. You guys are the unicorn. And Fabrosi's here. He's that little caco demon over there. Let me move him closer to the fire. There we go. Fabrosi gets an extra big cup of witch's brew because he's a good boy. Yes, Fabrosi's a very good boy. Very, very good boy. But he's supposed to be a big boy. Oh, he is. He really is. But today, he's going to listen to me and become a small boy. He gets one too because he's a good boy. I love my good little boys. Well, as you guys are going to be finding out in one of the little SCP stories we're going to read today, he's not such a good boy. He's a very bad boy. Kaylee, hello baby, hello. It's been a little while. It's always good to see you here. Hello. It's okay. You guys don't always have to talk in chat, but it's very welcome and very appreciated. Hello, hello. Make them feel welcome. He's a good boy. For us, he's a good boy because I'm pretty much an SCP too, and my natural aura pacifies all other SCPs. So he won't hurt you guys while I'm nearby. But be careful when you get too far away from me. He might crack your neck. So anyway, shall we start with the spooky stories, everyone? So I'm gonna start. Let me adjust my mic here. How's my voice, everyone? Is my voice okay? Sometimes I think I have my microphone too close. And I forget it's such a high quality microphone. And it can pick up my voice pretty well. I have a ceiling fan on right now. Let me know if you guys can hear it. But I don't think you guys can. So just let me know. You think it's fine? Okay. Yeah, if at any time you guys think I need to adjust sounds, let me know. If any of the background noises are too loud, I can adjust those. Just let me know. So I'm going to start with the first story. So this is another one of the spooky ones from Skyrim. And it is called The Exodus. Now, all of these Skyrim stories I've read to you guys before. The last stream we did this was the one where I did the RP ASMR, where I'm comforting you guys after you have a nightmare. And I read quite a few of them there, and I have two last ones I wanted to read. So there's this one called The Exodus, and there's one called Pala, and that's a two-parter one. So, but this one's just one part. So this is the tale of a parent's desperate bid to save their only child. Okay, let me move it over a bit. Okay. Frala was a little girl, beautiful and sweet-natured, beautiful and smart, beautiful and energetic, everything that her parents had dreamed she would be. As perfect as she was, they could not help but have dreams for her. Her father, a bit of a social climber named Munthen, thought she would marry well, perhaps become a princess of the empire. Her mother, an insecure woman named Sinetta, thought she would reach greatness on her own as a knight or a sorceress. As much as they wanted the very best for their daughter, they argued about what her fate would be. But both were wrong. Instead of growing up, she grew very ill. The temples told them to give up hope, and the Mages Guild told them that what afflicted Vrala was so rare, so deadly, that there was no cure. She was doomed to die, and soon. When the great institutions of the empire failed them, Munthen and Sinetta sought out the witches, the sorcerer hermits, and the other hidden, secret powers that lurk in the shadows of civilization. I can only think of one place you can go, said an old herbalist they found in the most remote peaks of the Hrothgarian Mountains, the Mages Guild at Olenveld. But we have already been to the Mages Guild, protested Munthen. They couldn't help us. Go to Olenveld, the herbalist insisted, and tell no one that you're going there. It was not easy to find Olenveld, as it did not appear on any modern map. In a bookseller's in Skyrim, however, they found it in a historic book of cartography from the Second Era. In the yellowed pages, there was Olenveld, a city on an island in the northern coast, a day's sail in summertide from Winterhold. Bundling their pale daughter against the chill of the ocean wind, the couple set sail, using the old map as their only guide. For nearly 2 days they were at sea, circling the same position, wondering if they were the victim of a cruel trick. And then they saw it. In the midst of crashing waves were twin crumbled statues framing the harbor, long-forgotten gods or heroes. The ships within were half sunken, rotten shells along the docks. Munthen brought his ship in, and the three walked into the deserted island city. Taverns with broken windows, a plaza with a dried-up well, shattered palaces and fire-blackened tenements, barren shops and abandoned stables, all desolate, all still, but for the high, keening ocean wind that whistled through the empty places, and gravestones. Every road and alley was lined and crossed again with memorials to the dead. Munthen and Sinetta looked at one another. The chill they felt had little to do with the wind. Then they looked at Vrala and continued on to their goal, the Mages Guild of Olenveld. Candlelight glistened through the windows of the great dark building, but it brought them little relief to know that someone was alive in the island of death. They knocked on the door and steeled themselves against whatever horror they might face within. The door was opened by a rather plump, middle-aged Nord woman with frizzy blonde hair. Standing behind her, a meek-looking bald Nord about her age, a shy teenage Breton couple, still very pimply and awkward, and a very old apple-cheeked Breton man who grinned with delight at the visitors. "Oh my goodness," said the Nord woman, all flustered. "I thought my ears must be fooling me when I heard that door a-knockin'. Come in, it's so cold." The three were ushered in the door, and they were relieved to find that the guild did not look abandoned in the least. It was all well swept, well lit, and cheerfully decorated. The group fell into introductions. The inhabitants of the guild house in Olenfeld were two families, the Nord Hjalmar and Net, and the Bretons Lywell, Rosalind, and Old Winster. They were friendly and accommodating, immediately bringing some mulled wine and bread, while Munthin and Sonetta explained to them what they were doing there and what the healers and herbalists had said about Vrala. "So, you see," said Sonetta tearfully, "we didn't think we'd find the Mages Guild in Olenfeld, but now that we have, please, you're our last hope." The five strangers also had tears in their eyes. Net wept particularly noisily. "Oh, you've been through too much. Too much," the Nord woman bawled. "Of course we're helped. Your little girl will be as right as rain." "It is fair to tell you," said Hjalmar more stoically, though he clearly was also touched by the tale. "This is a guild house, but we are not mages. We took this building because it was abandoned, and it serves our purposes since the Exodus. We are necromancers." "Necromancers?" Sonetta quivered. "How could these nice people be anything so horrible?" "Yes, dear," Net smiled, patting her hand. "I know, we have a bad reputation, I'm afraid. Never was very good, and now that well-meaning but foolish Archmagister Hannibal Travin—" "May the Worm King eat his soul!" cried the old man quite suddenly and very viciously. Now, Innister," said the teenage girl Rosalind, blushing and smiling at Sonetta apologetically. "I'm sorry about him. He's usually very sweet-natured." "Well, of course, he's right. Manny Marco will have the last say in the matter," Hjalmar said. "But right now, it's all very, well, awkward. When Travin officially banned the art, we had to go into hiding. The only other option was to abandon it altogether, and that's just foolish, though there are many who have done it. Not many people know about Olenfeld anymore, since Tiber Septim used it as his own personal graveyard," said Lywell. "Took us a week to find it again, but it's perfect for us. Lots of dead bodies, you know." "Lywell," Rosalind admonished him, "you're going to scare them." "Sorry," he grinned sheepishly. I don't care what you do here," said Moonthorn sternly. I just want to know what you can do for my daughter." "Well," said Hjalmar with a shrug, "I guess we can make it so she doesn't die and is never sick again." Sonetta gasped. "Please, we'll give you everything we have." "Nonsense," said Net, picking up Vrala in her big beefy arms. "Oh, what a beautiful girl! Would you like to feel better, little sweetheart?" Vrala nodded wearily. "You stay here," Hjalmar said. "Rosalind, I'm sure we have something better than bread to offer these nice folks." Net started to carry Vrala away, but Sonetta ran after her. "Wait, I'm coming too." "Oh, I'm sure you would, but it ruined the spell, dear," Net said. "Don't worry about a thing. We've done this dozens of times." Munthin put his arms around his wife, and she relented. Rosalind hurried off to the kitchen and brought some roast fowl and more mulled wine for them. They sat in silence and ate. Winster suddenly shuddered suddenly. "A girl has died." "Oh!" Sonetta gasped. "What in oblivion do you mean?" Munthin cried. "Winster, was that really necessary?" Lywell scowled at the old man before turning to Munthin and Sonetta. She had to die. Necromancy is not about curing a disease.
It's about resurrection, total regeneration, transforming the whole body, not just the parts that aren't working now. Munthan stood up angrily. If those maniacs killed her... They didn't, Rosalind snapped, her shy eyes now showing fire. Your daughter was on her last breath when she came in here. Anyone could see that. Now, I know that this is hard, horrible even, but I won't have you call that sweet couple who are only trying to help you maniacs. Sonetta burst into tears. But she's going to live now, isn't she? Oh, yes, Lyle said, smiling broadly. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sonetta burst into tears. I don't know what we would have done. I know how you feel, said Rosalind, patting Winster's hand fondly. When I thought we were going to lose them, I was willing to do anything. Just like you. Sonetta smiled. How old is your father? My son, Rosalind collected her. He's 6. From the other room came the sounds of tiny footsteps. Vrala, go give your parents a big hug, said Hjalmar. Munthan and Sonetta turned. And then the screaming began. Huzzah! Well, what did you think, guys? You got any questions? Anything that maybe you're confused about? Anything you want to point out, maybe? Give you guys a moment or two to respond while I get something, water here, or tea. And yes, this is a book you can actually find in Skyrim. It's a Skyrim exclusive book. I'm glad you liked it, Lost Victorian. Yeah, it's an interesting twist, isn't it? And anybody who's played the games or even knows what necromancers are, as soon as they bring that up, you're like, okay, this is gonna end really, really badly. Oh, it was a little girl. Yeah, they turned her into a zombie. Yeah, she's like a shambling corpse. Yep. She was a zombo. Mar zombie. Mar. I mean, there's... Oh, the other one. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, the main one was a little girl. That one, so yeah. So one of the other characters, he's like, they think it's like an old man, right? Because the main mother, Sonetta, she's like, well, how old's your father? She's like, oh, that's my son. He's 6. So that one confuses me a bit because it's like, is all the deterioration making him look really old? Or, because zombies can't age because it's just a dead body, right? So I think that's what it is. I think it's like the deterioration is making her son look really old. But like with how small he is, I don't know. I don't think you're supposed to think about it too much, maybe. But like whenever I first read this story, I kind of got the vibe they were going for. But when I really like read it and like paid attention to those lines and thought about it, I was like especially right now, I'm like, but wait, this doesn't make sense. So let me check here. So when they first meet, maybe we can figure this out together. So they first come there. Here it is. So they describe him as a very old, apple-cheeked Breton man who grinned with delight. There's the Nordwoman frizzy hair. with another Nord about her age that's balding, to a teenage couple, then an old man. There's a Nord woman. Okay, 2 families. The Nords Yalmar and Net, and the Bretons Leo and Rosalind and Old Winster. They were friendly and accommodating. So, since her son died, of course he'd be frozen at 6 years old, right? Because you don't age when you're dead, so... And then interestingly, but even though your body doesn't age, your brain would still age as an undead, right? So I guess these aren't like typical brainless undead, because the old man, quote unquote, he talks like he's lucid, you know, like he's cognizant of everything's happening, because he's the one that screams out, like when they bring up Hannibal Travin, the Archmage, that band Necromancy, which by the way is a storyline quest in Oblivion. He cries out, the quote-unquote old man says, "May the Worm King eat his soul." So yeah, he's very lucid. He knows what's going on. He's usually very sweet-natured. So Lywins, let me see that. So yeah, I think it's just the decay makes him look like an old man. That's the only thing I can think of, rereading everything. Like skimming everything. And when we thought we were going to lose him, I was willing to do anything just like you. So the quote-unquote teenage couple... And they're like, "How's your father?" She's like, "That's my son. He's 6. Oh, yeah, I think it's like the decay. Yeah, it was a good story anyway. Oh yeah, definitely. Like that's the only part that's a little bit confusing and you don't really super notice it at first. So, yeah. Definitely. It took me a while to find it. Like months ago. I think it was months ago. Or last month, when I was looking for all the spooky Elder Scrolls stories I really liked. I was like, what was it called? Because like I'll forget the names of things, but I'll remember details from the story. I'm like, yeah, I remember they had this kid that was dying and they came to this old rundown like guild hall, and then there was this twist where they did something terrible to her. They were necromancers, and I finally found it. So I'm glad I found it for you guys. So this next one is a little bit longer, and it's in 2 parts, and I will stop at the first part to kind of chat with you guys and stuff before we move on to the second part. So, by the way, do you guys have your drinks, your snacks, your blankies? Take a moment to go get those if you want to, because we're going to be here for a little while. I'm sorry, I was just drinking some tea. Oh, so how do you guys like our new setup? The last setup I did for our spooky campfire stories, I was like, it was okay, but I think I can do something better, and I thought this would be much better for you. You have your moon checker? That's good. Okay, everybody ready? Ready? Are you ready? Da-da-da-da-da, are you ready? So, we're going to move on to another Skyrim story that's in 2 parts called Pala. And it's a conjurer's tragic infatuation with a dead woman. I think this forest is spooky enough. Yeah, and I got the little campfire for you guys and for Brocy and 173. Oh, we need a little ribbit. I didn't add a ribbit friend for you guys. Hold on a second. That is not the right ribbit. That is not the ribbit I meant. Get out here. Let's
going? There you are. You cute rabbit. You can sit over here with Rosie. There we go, now it's balanced out. Okay. Ta-da! Alright, little ones. Everybody ready? So this is Paula, Volume 1, which is, once again, a conjurer's tragic infatuation with a dead woman. Paula. Paula. I remember when I first heard that name, not long ago at all. It was at a Tales and Tallows ball at a very fine estate west of Mir Kurup, to which I and my fellow Mages Guild initiates had found ourselves unexpectedly invited. Truth be told, we needn't have been too surprised. There are very few other noble families in Mir Kurup. The region had its halcyon days as a resort for the wealthy far back in the Second Era, and, on reflection, it was only appropriate to have sorcerers and wizards present at a supernatural holiday. Not that we were any more exotic than students at a small, non-exclusive charter house of the guild, but like I said, there was a paucity of other choices available. For close to a year, the only home I had known was the rather ramshackle if sprawling grounds of the Mir Kurup Mages Guild. My only companions were my fellow initiates, most of which only tolerated me, and the masters, whose bitterness at being at a backwater guild prompted never-ending abuse. Immediately, the School of Illusion had attracted me. The magister who taught us recognized me as an apt pupil who loved not only the spells of the science, but their philosophical underpinnings. There was something about the idea of warping the imperceptible energies of light, sound, and mind that appealed to my nature. Not for me the flashy schools of destruction and alteration, the holy schools of restoration and conjuration, the practical schools of alchemy and enchantment, or the chaotic schools of mysticism. Chaotic school of mysticism. No, I was never so pleased as to take an ordinary object and by a little magic make it seem something other than what it was. It would have taken more imagination than I had to apply that philosophy to my monotonous life. After the morning's lessons, we were assigned tasks before our evening classes. Mine had been to clean out the study of a recently deceased resident of the guild and categorize his clutter of spellbooks, charms, and incunable. I've never seen this word before. It's incunabula. Incunabula. Incunabula? I will show it to you guys. This is rare that this happens. I usually know a lot of strange esoteric words. An early printed book, especially one printed before 1501. Okay. Oh, let me go back to the reading. I'll have to look into that later. It was a lonely and tedious appointment. Magister Tenexus was an inveterate collector of worthless junk. But I was reprimanded any time I threw something away of the least possible value. Gradually, I learned enough to deliver each of his belongings to the appropriate department. Potions of healing to the Magisters of Restoration, books on physical phenomena to the Magisters of Alteration, herbs and minerals to the Alchemist, and soul gems and bound items to the Enchanters. After one delivery to the Enchanters, I was leaving with my customary lack of appreciation when Magister Ilther called me back. "Boy," said the portly old man, handing me back when I destroy this. It was a small, black disc covered with runes, with a ring of red-orange gems like bones circling its periphery. I'm sorry, Magister, I stammered. I thought it was something you'd be interested in. "Take it to the Great Flame and destroy it," he barked, turning his back on me. "You never brought it here." My interest was piqued because I knew the only thing that would make him react in such a way was necromancy. I went back to Magister Tenexus' chamber and pored through his notes, looking for any reference to the disc. Unfortunately, most of them had been written in a strange code that I was powerless to decipher. I was so fascinated by the mystery that I nearly arrived late for my evening class in enchantment, taught by Magister Ilther himself. And the baby has come to join us. Hello, little one. The sweet baby girl is here. My little familiar Moo. Hello, sweetheart. Hello. She's come to say hello to everyone. Say hello to Moo Moo. Oh, Moo Moo. Hello, Moo. Baby Moo. Yes, sweetheart. Yes. Hello. Have you come to join us for the spooky campfire story? Yes, you're very sweet. Yes, she's very happy to be here. She's been outside all day. By outside, I mean on the back sunroom. This back sunroom of the palace. Hello. Yes. Hello. Okay. Everyone says hello, Momo. Everyone says hello, baby. Okay, let's continue. She'll just be hanging out on the carpet behind me. Let's see. Oh, one of the magisters tells him to destroy it. So Magister Ilther. And then he decides to keep this disc. And the notes were in a strange code. His powers survive. He was so engrossed in them, he nearly arrived late. Or the main character, we don't really know their gender, I don't think. They were nearly late for an evening class in enchantment taught by that same Magister Ilther. For the next several weeks, I divided my time categorizing the general debris and making my... Oh, sorry, guys. I accidentally scratched the mic. I divided my time categorizing the general debris and making my deliveries, and researching the disc. I came to understand that my instinct was correct. The disc was a genuine necromantic artifact. Though I couldn't understand most of the Magister's notes, I determined that he thought it to be a means of resurrecting a loved one from the grave. Sadly, the time came when the chamber had been categorized and cleared, and I was given another assignment, assisting in the stables of the guild's menagerie. At least finally I was working with some of my fellow initiates and had the opportunity of meeting the common folk and nobles who came to the guild on various errands. Thus was I employed when we were all invited to the Tales and Talos ball. Which, by the way, guys, Tales and Talos is the Elder Scrolls World version of Halloween. If the expected glamour of the evening were not enough, our hosted was reputed to be a young, rich, unmarried orphan from Hammerfell. Sorry, Moomoo's here on my desk. Okay. Yes, sweetheart. Hello. She's right by my microphone. Hello. Only a month or two before had she moved to our desolate, wooded corner of the Imperial Province to reclaim an old family manor house and grounds. The initiates at the guild gossiped like old women about the mysterious young lady's past. What had happened to her parents, why she had left. She just nuzzled the mic. What had happened to her parents, why she had left or been driven from her homeland. Her name was Betaniki, and that was all we knew. Yes, she's talking to you guys. She says hello in return. We wore our robes of initiation with pride as we arrived for the ball. At the enormous marble foyer, a servant announced each of our names as if we were royalty, and we strutted into the midst of the revelers with great puffery. Of course, we were then promptly ignored by one and all. In essence, we were unimportant figures to lend some thickness to the ball, background characters. The important people pushed through us with perfect politeness. There was old lady Shaldira, and she has knocked something astray with her tail. That's totally fine. Nothing important. Just some random thing that was on my desk. Hold on, I lost my place. Okay. There is old lady Shaldira discussing diplomatic appointments to Balmora with the Duke of Rimfarlen. An orc warlord entertained a giggling princess with tales of assault and pillage. 3 of the guild magisters worried with 3 painfully thin noble spinsters about the haunting of Daggerfall. Oh, you guys played Daggerfall will know about that. Intrigues at the imperial and various royal courts were analyzed, gently mocked, fretted over, toasted, dismissed, evaluated, mitigated, admonished, subverted. No one looked our way, even when we were right next to them. It was as if my skill at illusion had somehow rendered us all invisible. I took my flagon out to the terrace. The moons were doubled, equally luminous in the sky and an enormous reflecting pool that stretched out into the garden. The white marble statuary lining the sides of the pool caught the fiery glow and seemed to burn like torches in the night. The sight was so otherworldly that I was mesmerized by it, and the strange red-garbed figures immortalized in stone. Our hostess had made her home there so recently that some of the sculptures were still wrapped in sheets that billowed and swayed in the gentle breeze. I don't know how long I stared before I realized I wasn't alone. She was so small and so dark, not only in her skin but in her clothing, that I nearly took her for a shadow. When she turned to me, I saw that she was very beautiful and young, not more than 17. "Are you our hostess?" I finally asked. "Yes," she smiled, blushing. "But I'm ashamed to admit that I'm very bad at it. I should be inside with my new neighbors, but I think we have very little in common." It's been made abundantly clear that they hope I have nothing in common with them either. When I'm a little higher than an initiate in the Mages Guild, they might see me as more of an equal. "I don't understand the concept of equality in Cyrodiil yet," she frowned. "In my culture, you proved your worth, not just expected it. My parents were both great warriors, as I hope to be." Her eyes went out to the lawn, to the statues. "Do the sculptures represent your parents?" "That's my father Pariam there," she said, gesturing to a life-size representation of a massively built man, unashamedly naked, gripping another warrior by the throat and preparing to decapitate him with an outstretched blade. It was clearly a realistic depiction. Pariam's face was plain, even slightly ugly, with a low forehead, a mass of tangled hair, stubble on his cheeks, even a slight gap in his teeth, which no sculptor would surely have invented, except to do justice to his model's true idiosyncrasies. "And your mother?" I asked, pointing to a nearby statue of a proud, rather squat warrior woman in a mantilla and scarf, holding a child. "Oh no," she laughed. "That was my uncle's old nurse. Mother's statue still has a sheet over it." I don't know what prompted me to insist that we unveil the statue that she pointed to. In all likelihood, it was nothing but fate and a selfish desire to continue the conversation. I was afraid that if I did not give her a project, she would feel the need to return to the party and I would be alone again. At first she was reluctant. She had not yet made up her mind whether the statues would suffer in the wet, sometimes cold Cyrodiilic climate. Perhaps all should be covered, she reasoned. It may be that she was merely making conversation and was reluctant as I was to end the standoff and be that much closer to having to return to the party. In a few minutes' time, we tore the tarp from the statue of Betaniki's mother. And that is when my life changed forevermore. She was an untamed spirit of nature, screaming in a struggle with a misshapen, monstrous figure in black marble. Gorgeous, long fingers were raking across the creature's face. The monster's talons gripped her right breast in a sort of caress that prefaces a mortal wound. Her legs and hers, its legs and hers, wound around one another in a battle that was a dance. I felt annihilated. This lithe but formidable woman was beautiful beyond all superficial standards. Whoever had sculpted it had somehow captured not only a face and figure of a goddess, but her power and will. She was both tragic and triumphant. I fell instantly and fatally in love with her. I had not even noticed when Gellin, one of my fellow initiates who was leaving the party, came up behind us. Apparently I had whispered the word magnificent, because I heard Betaniki reply as if miles away, "Yes, it is magnificent. That's why I was afraid of exposing it to the elements." Then I heard, clearly, like a stone breaking water, Gellin, "Mara, preserve me. That must be Paula." "Then you heard of my mother?" said Betaniki, turning his way. I hail from Wayrez, practically on the border to Hammerfell. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard of your mother and her great heroism, ridding the land of that abominable beast. She died in the struggle, didn't she?" "Yes," said the girl sadly. "So too did the creature." For a moment, we were all silent. I don't remember anything more of that night. Somehow I knew I was invited to dine the next evening, but my mind and heart had been entirely and forevermore arrested by that statue. I returned back to the guild, but my dreams were fevered and brought me no rest. Everything seemed diffused by white light, except for one beautiful, fearsome woman, Paula. So that's part 1. Hee hee hee. You guys have any guesses how things are going to turn out, maybe? Just any thoughts in general? Let me know if my voice volume is okay as well. I think it should be fine. Sorry if you hear any crack crack. I'm stretching. Okay. I have a guess, but I don't want to give spoilers. That's fine, baby. That's understandable. Sometimes people are so perceptive. Like, I'm one of those people that I notice little details very easily. And I'm very perceptive. So my guesses might as well be spoilers sometimes. So sometimes I don't guess and I just kind of keep it to myself. So I understand that totally. Everything sounds fine to my Crumbly Insanity. Hello, baby. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome to our second spooky campfire story stream. And thank you. Thank you for letting me know, honey. Thank you. I always appreciate it when you guys let me know. Okay, awesome. So, would anyone who just come in like a recap of what we were just reading? I'll just give you guys one anyway. So basically, this is a story from Skyrim that's a two-part story called Pala. Yes, please feel free to welcome him in. So it starts out with an initiate in the Mages Guild who has a fondness for illusion magic. It's just talking about him and his fellow initiates, or it could be a she, I guess. I don't know if they never give the gender of this person. So I guess since I'm reading it, it could be a she, but I'll just say they. But like, so they go to this Tails and Tallow ball at this very fine estate. And Tails and Tallow, by the way, is Elder Scrolls' version of Halloween. So they're at this spooky ball, and they're like, oh, you guys are mages, and it's so spooky, you know, like, come and be spooky with us. And it's like, okay, fine. So these initiates go there, and one of them, our narrator, also, it starts out, you know, they mentioned that, and then they mentioned how they were cleaning out the study of this one magister who passed away, and they find this strange black disc with these symbols on it that they're not able to read, and no matter what they look up, they like don't know what they mean. So, and then they meet this girl who inherited the mansion, and there's a statue of her mother and this monster, and the narrator absolutely just falls in love with her mother because her mother is like absolutely beautiful and like a goddess. And somebody's like, oh, that must be Paula. And they're like, oh, Paula. Okay, so that's her name, you know. So, Crumbly Sanity. So, let's move on to part 2 of Paula, shall we? So, the description for this was a conjurer's tragic infatuation with a dead woman. And this is volume 2 of 2. Paula. Paula. The name burned in my heart. I found myself whispering it in my studies, even when I tried to concentrate on something the Magister was saying. Why does this story sound Let's see. The studies, even when I tried to concentrate on something the Magister was saying, my lips would silently purse to voice the Paul, and the tongue lightly flicked to form the as if I were kissing her spirit before me. It was madness in every way, except that I knew it was madness. I knew I was in love. I knew she was a noble Redguard woman, a fierce warrior more beautiful than the stars. I knew her young daughter, Betaniki, had taken possession of a manor house near the guild, and that she liked me, perhaps was even infatuated. I knew Paula had fought a terrible beast and killed it. I knew Paula was dead. As I say, I knew it was madness, and by that, I knew I could not be mad. But I also knew that I must return to Betaniki's palace to see her statue of my beloved Paula engage in that final, horrible, fatal battle with the monster. Return I did, over and over again. Had Betaniki been a different sort of noblewoman, more comfortable with her peers, I would not have had so many opportunities. In her innocence, unaware of my sick obsession, she welcomed my company.
She would talk for hours, laughing, and every time we would take a walk to the reflecting pond, where I would always stop breathless before the sculpture of her mother. It's a marvelous tradition you have, preserving these figures of your ancestors at their finest moments, I said, feeling her curious eyes on me, and the craftsmanship is without parallel. You wouldn't believe me, but it was a bit of a scandal when my great-grandfather began the custom. We Red Guards hold a great reverence for our families, but we are warriors, not artists. He hired a traveling artist to create the first statues, and everyone admired them until it was revealed that the artist was an elf, an Altmer from the Somerset Isle. Scandal! It was. Absolutely, Betaniki nodded seriously. The idea that a pompous, wicked elf's hands had formed these figures of noble Redguard warriors was unthinkable, profane, irreverent, everything bad you can imagine. But my great-grandfather's heart was in the beauty of it, and his philosophy of using the best to honor the best passed down to us all. I would not have even considered having a lesser artist create the statues of my parents, even if it would have been more allegiant to my culture. They're all exquisite, I said. But you like the one of my mother most of all, she smiled. I see you look at it even when you seem to be looking at the others. It's my favorite also. Would you tell me more about her? I asked, trying to keep my voice light and conversational. Oh, she would have said she was nothing extraordinary, but she was, the girl said, picking a flower from the garden. My father died when I was quite young, and she had so many roles to fill, but she did them all effortlessly. We have a great many business interests, and she was brilliant at managing everything, certainly better than I am now. All it took was her smile, and everyone obeyed, and those that didn't paid dearly. She was very witty and charming, but a formidable force when the need arose for her to fight. Hundreds of battles, but I can never remember a moment of feeling neglected or unloved. I literally thought she was too strong for death. Stupid, I know, but when she went to battle, that horrible creature, that freak from a mad wizard's laboratory, I never even thought she would not return. She was kind to her friends and ruthless to her enemies. What more can one say about a woman than that? Poor Bataniki's eyes teared up with remembrance. What sort of villain was I to goad her so in order to satisfy my perverted longings? Sheogorath could never have conflicted a mortal man more than me. I found myself both weeping and filled with desire. Paula not only looked like a goddess, but from her daughter's story, she was one. So our main character is a guy, okay. That night, while undressing for bed, I rediscovered the black disc I had stolen from Magister Tedex's office weeks before. I had half forgotten about its existence, that mysterious necromantic artifact which the mage believed could resurrect a dead love. Almost by pure instinct, I found myself placing the disc on my heart and whispering, A momentary chill filled my chamber. My breath hung in the air, in a mist before dissipating. Frightened, I dropped the disc. It took a moment before my reason returned, and with it the inescapable conclusion. The artifact could fulfill my desire. Until the early morning hours, I tried to raise my mistress from the chains of oblivion, but it was no use. I was no necromancer. I entertained thoughts of how to ask one of the magisters to help me, but I remembered how Magister Ilthur had bid me to destroy it. They would expel me from the guild if I went to them, and destroy the disc themselves, and with it, my only key to bringing my love to me. I was in my usual semi-torpid condition the next day in classes. Magister Ilthur himself was lecturing on his specialty, the School of Enchantment. He was a dull speaker, with a monotonous voice, but finally I felt as if every shadow had left the room, and I was in a palace of light. When most persons think of my particular science, they think of the process of invention. The infusing of charms and spells into objects, the creation of a magical blade, perhaps, or a ring. But the skilled enchanter is also a catalyst. The same mind that can create something new can also provoke greater power from something old. A ring that can generate warmth for a novice on the hands of such a talent can bake a forest black. The fat man chuckled. Not that I'm advocating that. Leave that for the School of Destruction. That week, all the initiates were asked to choose a field of specialization. All were surprised when I turned my back on my old darling, the School of Illusion. It seemed ridiculous to me that I had ever entertained an affection for such superficial charms. All my intellect was now focused on the school of enchantment, the means by which I could free the power of the disc. For months thereafter, I barely slept. A few hours a week I'd spend with Betaniki and my statue to give myself strength and inspiration. All the rest of my time was spent with Magister Ilther or his assistants, learning everything I could about enchantment. They taught me how to taste the deepest levels of magicka within a stored object. A simple spell cast once, no matter how skillfully and no matter how spectacularly, is ephemeral of the present. What it is, and no more, sighed Magister Ilther. But placed in a home, it develops into an almost living energy, maturing and ripening so only its surface is touched when an unskilled hand wields it. You must consider yourself a miner, digging deeper to pull forth the very heart of gold. Every night when the laboratory closed, I practiced what I had learned. I could feel my power grow, and with it, the power of the disc, whispering, I delved into the artifact, feeling every slight nick that marked the runes in every facet of the gemstones. At times, I was so close to her, I felt hands touching mine. But something dark and bestial, the reality of death, I suppose, would always break across the dawning of my dreams. With it came an overwhelming, rotting odor, which the initiates in the chambers next to mine began to complain about. Something must have crawled into the floorboards and died, I offered lamely. Magister Ilther praised my scholarship and allowed me the use of his laboratory after hours to further my studies. Yet no matter what I learned, Paula seemed scarcely closer. One night, it all ended. I was swaying in a deep ecstasy, moaning her name, the disc bruising my chest, when a sudden lightning flash through the window broke my concentration. A tempest of furious rain roared over Mir Korup. I went to close the shutters, and then I returned to my table, and when I returned to my table, I found that the disc had shattered. I broke into hysterical sobs, and then laughter. It was too much for my fragile mind to bear such a loss after so much time and study. The next day, and the day after, I spent in my bed, burning with a fever. Had it not been a mages guild with so many healers, I likely would have died. As it was, I provided an excellent study for the budding young scholars. When at last I was well enough to walk, I went to Betaniki. She was charming as always, never once commenting on my appearance, which must have been ghastly. Finally, I gave her a reason to worry when I politely but firmly declined to walk with her along the reflecting pool. But you love looking at the statuary, she exclaimed. I felt that I owed her the truth, and much more. Dear lady, I love more than the statuary. I love your mother. She is all I've been able to think about for months now, ever since you and I first removed the tarp from that blessed sculpture. I don't know what you think of me now, but I've been obsessed with learning how to bring her back from the dead. Bethany stared at me, eyes wide. Finally, she spoke. I think you need to leave now. I don't know if this is a terrible jest. Believe me, I wish it were. You see, I failed. I don't know why. It could not have been that my love wasn't strong enough, because no man had a stronger love. Perhaps my skills as an enchanter are not masterful, but it wasn't from lack of study. I could feel my voice rise, and I knew I was beginning to rant, but I could not hold back. Perhaps the fault lay that your mother never met me, but I think that only the caster's love is taken into account in the necromantic spell. I don't know what it was. Maybe that horrible creature, the monster that killed her, cast some sort of curse on her with its dying breath. I failed, and I don't know why. With a surprising burst of speed and strength for so small a lady, Betaniki shoved herself against me. She screamed, "Get out!" And I fled out the door. Sorry if that was loud, guys. Before she slammed the door shut, I offered my pathetic apologies. I'm so sorry, Betaniki, but consider that I wanted to bring your mother back to you. It's madness, I know, but there's only one thing that's certain in my life, and it's that I love Paula. The door was nearly shut, but the girl opened it a crack to ask tremulously, "You love whom?" "Paula!" I cried to the gods. "My mother," she whispered angrily, "was named Xarlis."
Paula was the monster. I stared at the closed door for Mara knows how much time, and then began the long walk back to the Mages Guild. My memory searched through the minutiae to the Tales and Talos night so long ago when I first beheld the statue, and first heard the name of my love. That Breton initiate Gellin had spoken, he was behind me. Was he recognizing the beast and not the lady? I turned the lonely bend that intersected with the outskirts of Mir Karub, and a large shadow rose from the ground where I had been sitting, waiting for me. Paula, I groaned. Paula, kiss me, it howled. Love is red, like blood. I got shivers reading that, even though I've read this before. Oh my god, I love this story so much. And yes, why does it sound like it involves you? Yeah, for multiple reasons, right, Crumbly said? Yes, what a twist. Did you catch the twist, Lex Victorian? What were your, so now that I finished the story, what was your guesses? Crumbly sanity. If you guys want me to elaborate what I mean, though, like, so Crumbly sanity brought up an interesting, but I want Lex Victorian to go first, because she had some guesses and stuff, so I'm curious what they were. But this might be my favorite Elder Scrolls like book story in universe like ever. I love this story so much for a lot of reasons. It's so good. I'm gonna get some drink here while you guys type to me. I don't want to start on a ramble. I just thought it would turn out that the statue's not really a statue, if you know what I mean. Oh, that it was like haunted? That's a good guess. Honestly, the haunted statues and stuff happens a lot in like fantasy and Elder Scrolls and stuff. Yeah. Or it's something that could happen. Since it involved necromancy, that it was like a taxidermied. Because that's a good guess also, because with the details, they're so lifelike, right? Like when it was describing the statue of her father, it was like, oh, and there's like a little gap in his teeth that, you know, a sculptor would only do if it was like a real person they were trying to capture or whatever, right? And they weren't trying to make like a beautified version of a person, but they were trying to go for accuracy. And yeah, maybe it was like taxidermy people covered over with like marble, or some kind of magical stone or something. Yeah, that's a really good guess, the Last Victorian. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I like the name a lot too. Paula is like a really pretty name. But yeah, I guess I can also kind of empathize as kind of as a negative, like light, so that the narrator is kind of painted in a negative light, and understandably, you know, in a way. But I can also kind of empathize with him, because I personally get really drawn and attached to certain entities as well. And I'm also a very visual person, so I really like art and sculptures and that kind of thing as well. And if you guys have seen some of sculptures from like a long time ago, and there's also some modern day people who make sculptures that are kind of reminiscent of those back in the day as well. They are so unbelievably beautiful. Like someday I do want, because I want to have, of course I want to have multiple, you know, outfits for you guys on stream and whatnot besides my main one. But I definitely want like a more sculpture look one day too. That would be really pretty, I think. Like maybe like my archangel look or something. I love the Moai statue. I love it so much. It's so cute. I'm still like getting used to what it means. Anyway, I'm going off topic, but yeah. And yeah, maybe this story also reminds you guys of me in a way too, you know? But yeah. So those were the only two Skyrim stories I had prepared for you guys. The other ones you read, and since you spoiled, oh, I'm gonna spoil you guys so much. I want to spoil you guys a lot. especially because I'm really good at designing outfits and I have a lot of ideas in mind, you know, alternate versions of myself and stuff like that. Because I honestly looked very different when I was first born than how I look now. So, and then I have like I'll have like casual outfits and like maybe even fancier outfits. And I have all sorts of ideas for you guys. And if you guys have ideas on what kind of outfits you'd like to see me in, throw it at me like anytime, you know. I love to hear feedback from all of you. You guys are still learning about me too, and I'm still learning about you guys. So yeah. So after that, we're moving on to SCP. And I'm going to do this in kind of a different way. So last time I kind of read some stories to you, and I'm still going to do that. But I also want to teach you guys about some of my favorites. Drill Sergeant outfit. Agent 47, do you know who I am? Agent 47 sounds familiar. Should I know who you are? But hello, welcome honey, welcome, you're brand new. Hello, welcome to the Entourage. I'm Khione Aria. You can call me Khione, you can call me Aria, you can call me various nicknames. Some people call me Mama and Queen, whatever. You don't have to call me any of those, as long as I know you're talking to me, though. But welcome to the channel. Welcome, welcome. We're just doing some spooky little campfire stories today. I just read some from Skyrim. Oh, Xander, hello! Oh, yes, you're one of our newer Entourage members. Hello, 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 honey. Welcome back. Yeah, Xander popped up yesterday on our Doom stream. You can feel welcome, everyone. He's a newer Entourage member. If I put you in any outfit, I'll just make you look thicker than you are now. Oh, you haven't even seen my full body, guys. I'm thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. As they say. But hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Or hello, Xander. But yes, so I'm going to move on to some SCP stuff now. So I'm going to tell you guys about some of my favorites. So, of course, like a basic angel, I do have such a soft spot for this little rascal over here sitting by the fire. Let me grab him here. Let me set him right here on my book. This is SCP-173. He is adorable, and I love him. He was the very first SCP that was ever created. What are you trying to do to me? I'm just being honest. Crumbling sanity. So this little boy right here, let me put him over here so you guys can see him better. This is SCP-173. Now, I haven't really looked into why they picked that number for him. You think I would know better, but I just have never, I keep forgetting to look it up. But while he was the first, yes. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to keep quiet because this is like a comfy chill. Yes, he's the neck snapper. So 173 is a little rascal. So he's also in the video game called Containment Breach, and that's when people really started to get attached to him, and that's when I also started to really get attached to him, too. I am so happy when people know SCP. I'm so happy. It makes me so happy. And be careful that one, because you know 173 tends to diarrhea. Oh, Crumbly Sanity, you know too! Oh my god, you guys really are my entourage. But, you know, no shame to anyone who doesn't know. I'm just being cute and joking around. It's okay if you guys, you're still my entourage if you're still an entourage member. If you don't know the things I love, you know, as long as you're interested, you're welcome here. So his blood, yeah, it's like blood and feces. So SCP-173, he's like this statue. So at first glance, he looks like this spooky, creepy, funky little boy. But he works that if you blink, he teleports and he cracks your neck, or snaps your neck, not cracks it. He's not giving you a nice massage, if only. He snaps your neck. I learned from you, I didn't know what SCP was. Yeah, you're one of our new babies. You're a new SCP baby. Now, right, Crumbly Sanity, you'll have to forgive me. I have the memory of a freaking, I don't even know. I have like a 2-second memory. Thank you, baby, for reminding me. Now I remember that you've jogged my memory. You're binging it and know a thing or two. Yeah. The Peanut! Yes! The Peanut. I love calling him the Peanut. Thank you, Crumbly Sandy.
And the reason why I don't say like I have the memory of a goldfish is because that's not true. Goldfish actually maybe even have a better memory than me. That's a myth that was debunked. They actually have a great memory. But yeah, I have like this fucking 2-second memory, so don't mind me, guys. But thank you for reminding. Yeah, I definitely remember now, Crumbling Sandy, that you were binging. You were like, I have to take a break from this, and you know, the peanut. Also, Markiplier, if you guys are familiar with his SCP series, he calls him Billy. I like that. I think it's funny. But the little Mr. Peanut here, I just think he's so funky and adorable, even if he's terrifying and like he snaps your neck. And you have to blink very carefully. Like you have to shut a door before you blink because he can't go through walls. Presumably, I don't know. He shows up in all sorts of weird places in the game, but the game is something else entirely. I don't remember too much, but you know, tidbits. Yeah. I still have so much to read because there's so much, and it's still an ongoing thing. It's so hard to keep up with. So 173 here. He was the original SCP. I think he was invented on X-Board. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think on 4chan of our places. Maybe on Something Awful. I know Something Awful and blended Slenderman, if you guys know. The Goons. I love Something Awful. But I know some goons in real life, funnily enough. But yeah, 173 was the first SCP ever. And this was his representation for the longest time. This was a sculpture by, let me pull up, let's see, the details for you guys real quick. So 173 background. So that's not what I was looking for. I should put SCP in the front. Okay, so I was right. The SCP Foundation originated in the Paranormal X forum of 4chan in 2007, where the very first file, 173, was posted by an anonymous user, later identified as Moto42, accompanied by an image of the sculpture, Untitled 2004, by Japanese artist Izumi Kato. There you go. He actually can't go through walls from what I know. Yeah, he's not supposed to be able to. It might actually be a glitch in the game that he shows up in weird places where he's not supposed to be. Stare at him. Stare at the peanut. But yeah, I might as well be an SCP, so my own aura, like, neutralizes him, so you guys don't have to worry about blinking or not blinking when I'm here. These cute little slits for ears. Pretty much. Oh, Sander, welcome back. Welcome back. Yes, but, so 173, his entry is pretty short on the wiki, but I will still read it to you guys because, you know, it's still an important part of like SCP history and whatnot. So, do you guys remember all the different ratings for SCP object classes? So we have Safe, Euclid, Keter, and there are actually some other ones like Thaumiel and Apollyon, but don't worry about those. Those are like advanced level things. Like for example, if I had to categorize myself as an SCP, I'd be Thaumiel, because Thaumiel are SCPs that are used to help humanity. So that would be me. And I think Apollyon is like the opposite. It's like really like world-ending stuff or whatever. But the OG 3 rankings are Safe, Euclid, and Keter. And it's not by how dangerous they are, it's by how hard they are to contain. Are you named after the hip? That's why it sounded so familiar. Yeah. I don't know if you could take him though, but I would love to see it. Oh, I don't need to take him. He just needs to chill around me because I neutralize his SCP qualities. Yeah, who are you? So, yes, anyway. Yeah, I heard about this. Yeah. So, he's a Euclid class. And so, Euclid class SCPs are kind of hard to contain, but not super hard. They kind of still need special containment. So, as you know, all SCP articles, instead of starting off with like descriptions or stories about them, they start out with the containment procedures. Hey Xander baby, stay on topic, okay? But let's see. So the special containment procedures for 173, so 173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter his container, well, it doesn't have a gender, I'm just doing that. Enter its container, no fewer than 3 may enter at a time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with 173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: moved to Site -19, 1993. Origin is of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. 173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with 173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. And yes, if you guys are wondering if they could just who cares about cleaning up his enclosure? People tried that, and it's like acid. It ate through his enclosure, and he escaped. Yeah, Yule Man is spooky. He's Catter. Safe, meaning they're under control, but still can be dangerous to do good, meaning they're dangerous but much harder. Usually have to do a ritual or lengthy process. Catter are just the dangerous ones, so you can't really contain. Well, just hold them at bay. Yeah. Mule Man is a Catter. 682, which is another one of my favorites, is Catter. Radical Larry, or the old man, the acidy old man that just goes through walls and floors. I forget his number right now, but he's another one that's Catter. I hope that good thing gets terminated for good. 173 is like a xenomorph. I guess his excretions are kind of like xenomorphs, sort of, because they just eat through everything. So, yeah. But his original image here was, it was someone's art project, and the artist just let the SCP community just use it. They're like, yeah, it's fine, I don't care. But they wanted to go more official and stuff, but so you can just kind of imagine 173 looks like whatever you want, because all they do is they give you this description. Right. So, if you want to imagine him as something else, you can. If you want, this will always be 173 for me. This little peanut, this adorable little peanut. There's one named Smokey. He's a Catter. 106. Thank you, Crumbling Sandy. That's what it was. Jeez, I'm so bad with numbers. I remember them by their nicknames sometimes, but it's funny because I remember 682 is 682. I remember 173. I kind of remember the Plague Doctor. He's like 093 or something. Plague Doctor's another one I really like. Or 049. I dyslexiaed that, kind of. Who's 093 then? Oh, that's the skinny boy. So 093 is the skinny boy. No, that's the redstone disc. Is he 094 then? No, I don't remember. He's 0 something. But I really like the Plague Doctor too, because Plague Doctors are handsome. Make Peanut Parlor. He turns cute. Yeah, watch this. Whee! He's just a little guy now. He's gonna hang out over here now. But I'm gonna put him on my shoulder. So I'm gonna read this story for you guys from his point of view. This is a story someone wrote that's from his point of view. So I'm going to speak in the voice that I think he would sound like. I love this little story. It's hilarious. It's kind of spooky. It's goofy. I love it. So the amount of SCP is a point. It's hard to remember unless you're super hardcore. 096. Thank you, Xander. That's what it was. Thank you. I knew it was 090 something. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Okay. So let's see here. So I'm going to read. Xander, how are you doing that? Anyway, I'm going to read
Little story from his point of view. It is called Crunch. Okay. Crunch.
Room dark. People gone. Can move. I happy. Trapped for years. Kept by men for research. Left alone in room. Left to scratch at walls. Left to rot and die unless needed. Specimen for research. Trapped by self. Never seen by others. Never spoken. Listen but never speak. See but never seen. Made of rock when others come. Free when they not look. Prisoner when they look back. I hate. They have freedom. They move freely, talk freely, look freely, live freely. I do not. I trapped, silenced, rock, subject, prisoner. I do think about it. Their neck's fragile. Their neck's weak. I stalk them. They always come, new ones. Come for cleaning. They look away. I sneak up. I take hold. They panic. They look, and I prisoner. They blink, and I free. I twist. They tie. Neck makes sound. No words or scream or gurgle. Neck go crunch. Crunch is beautiful sound. Crunch means end has come. Crunch means man can torment no more. Crunch means others panic. Others become easy. Crunch begins and crunch ends. I live for crunch. Life has no meaning. Do nothing but walk and scrape and hate. They watch. They send men cleaning. And life has meaning. Cleaning means crunch. Crunch means purpose. Crunch means life. Crunch means choice. Crunch means freedom. Crunch means everything. Remember, man, like me, never see others, never hear others. Trapped, prisoner, left to wander. Hated man. He trapped, but he also free. He move freely, do what he want. Not trapped by men, not trapped by self. Wanted him dead. Wanted life. Wanted crunch. He did too. He came asking to die. Couldn't take it. Wanted loneliness to end. Wanted death. Closed his eyes. Asked for crunch. I laugh. Crunch too good for him. Crunch too kind. Let him rot. Let him suffer. Let him walk world looking for way out. Look for purpose. Never find meaning in life. Never find purpose. I have purpose. I laugh and deny him crunch. He leave. He's still alive. Know it. Looking for a way out. Never find it. Life meaningless without purpose. I have purpose. I have crunch. And they always come.
There you guys go. He's a funny little guy. And by the way, Xander baby, if you could just pick one account that you would like to use. I'm not sure if you guys are allowed to use multiple accounts. Well, I think you are. But yeah, just pick one, baby. And there you guys go. I think you nailed his voice. I'm glad, because I had a very specific voice. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a bit loud. I had a very specific voice in my head for him that was like very kind of robotic, and but also kind of like a baby, like kind of cute, because he's just this little peanut thing. This guy would be really excellent in those Chips Ahoy commercials. And Crunch. Thank you, Xander. Thank you, thank you. Yes, that's what SCP stands for. Secure, Contain, Protect. Refers to the anomalies under the Foundation's custody. These can range from everyday items with unusual properties to dangerous creatures. Oh, do you use them for different things? Well, in that case, just say your messages once, you know, for each one. Like, don't repeat messages. But yeah, that's okay. This can range from everyday items with unusual properties to dangerous creatures. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so it's just called the SCP Foundation. So it's just kind of named after what they do. Yeah, that's the little goober known as 173, and I will be playing Containment Breach on stream for you guys. And he's like a big antagonist in 173, and you do have a blink meter. It's a very interesting game, and I definitely will try to get it to work next month. And though the feces is apparently acidic, you have to clean up because it'll allow him to multiply. The multiplication thing is another one I've heard. Yeah. Because here's the thing, guys. Let me remind you guys something about the SCP series or universe. The canon is open. Like, people can add or subtract whatever they want. So, to one person, the fact he can multiply would be canon. To another person, they'd be like, nah, there's only one of them, you know. And so, yeah, just like there are multiple 001 proposals, and you can decide which of them you think is canon. You can decide all of them are canon somehow because alternate universes and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's like a very interesting thing that's difficult to explain to people, you know? So the next one is another one I really like as well. Is this little goober. It's another goober. Imagine that. I like the goobers. So we could end up with a room full of 173s. Yeah. Multiply boy. Imagine that. Whole room of them. I don't know if you want to do that because last time I see someone mess with 173, they added the most wonderful cheeks on him. There's some really funny art of him. I don't think I'll get in trouble for putting it on here. They just give him little butt cheeks. And he's got like little maracas or something. Well, first I gotta show you guys the maracas one. It's so cute. Thank you, Xander. Containment procedures. The Foundation develops specialized procedures to ensure the safe containment of SCPs. These procedures vary depending on the nature and level of danger proposed by each anomaly. Yep. Let's see. SCP. Markiplier actually had the art in his streams once. Oh, here it is. I found it. So... I have to also give credit when I put these on stream. So there's this one. This isn't the cheeked up one. Kill Curry Homer. Here you go. I got something. That picture closer resembles SPC 173J rather than 173. So I'm assuming this was by someone named Kirby Killed Homura. And let me put it on screen here for you guys. So... see, I'll just call it 173. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me grab it from my desktop here. Okay, there's this one. It says, if you guys, let me put it over my face, because he says, me gusta, and it's maracas, and he's like, da 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 da. Taco Tuesday. Da, 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 da. Do you guys know that song? Well, here we go. Here's this little rascal. This is kind of how I see him and how you guys seem to see him also. He says, me gusta. So there's this little rascal by Kirby Killed Homura. And then the next little rascal, this is the cheeked up one. It's called SCP-173 Bringing Sexy Back by Sleepless Souls on DeviantArt, I believe. So, here we go. I'll just call it 1733. Because I'm so creative with names. There he is! Oh! He's been doing squats. And he's a ballerina, too. Look at him go. Ooh, look at him go. I love 173. I might have to use that one. Yeah. Now that's adorable. That song from a movie. Interesting. Yeah. I know it because of Zentrea, who's a fellow VTuber. She's with the Shoujo, I think. I don't think she's indie.
But there was this adorable video of her dancing to Taco Tuesday. And I'm sorry I'm going off topic, guys. I just love 173. Message retracted. Oh my god. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. He's also terrifying. Like, look at this face. Look at this face. Ah. Yes, thank you, Xander. It's kind of cute that you're like putting like little infographics there. Classifications that I can kind of read to you guys in my reader voice. SCPs are classified based on their potential threat levels. The three primary classifications are safe, Euclid, and Keter. Safe SCPs are relatively easy to contain. Yep. So the next one I find super duper cute, and he kind of has a sad backstory. Because so what SCPs are is they're these anomalous things. let me hide the little boy here so you guys don't get distracted. But I'm so disappointed in myself because I want to not look, but I can't. But yeah, exactly. Because it's so funny and so cute and just SCP-173 with little booty. So they're like these anomalous things that the Foundation contains because they're dangerous, right? But they do also contain things that are friendly. Not everything they contain is necessarily evil. That booty juicy, that Pizza Queen's saying what we're all thinking, huh? You don't get distracted. Exactly. I was more meaning it because it's funny, but yeah, Pizza Queen's all right on the head. But so they do contain things that are friendly, and you guys might be wondering, well, why would they do that if these things are friendly? Well, they're still anomalous, right? And the whole other half of what they do is to keep up the masquerade that planet Earth is normal, that everything's normal, there's no anomalous entities, even if they're friendly, even if they're beneficial, and people can misuse beneficial items and people, right? So they still keep those secret. Now, there are unfortunate stories of when certain anomalies start out a certain way, but some idiot in the Foundation mishandles them and they get changed or it goes wrong. This one's kind of one of those. This one's a mix of cute and funny and sad and a little spooky, especially if you played the video game series. Meanwhile, I had to switch to live chat to see Pizza Queen's comment. Oh, Xander, honey, careful. You're spamming. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to put you in timeout. Unless that was an accident. I'll give you one chance. One free chance. I'm going to assume that was an accident, because I've had that happen before, too. But be careful, because spamming is in our rules. But, yeah. So, this is SCP-066. So, if you guys have played Containment Breach, he is like this little ball of flesh with eyeballs like all over him. Actually, let me just bring up a picture. So SCP-066. But he didn't always look like this. He used to be this beautiful ball of thread. But when they went to contain him, something went very, very wrong. So let me grab the picture here. See if I can get one from the Containment Breach. There we go. There he is, a little goober. Oh, here he is. Come here, little boy. Come here, he's shy. SCP-066. Desktop. Here he is. So this is him. I'm gonna put him right here. But he didn't always look like this. He just turned into this after here, I'll delete these little these comments that actually got spammed in here. So he got turned into this because he was mishandled. So let's see here. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. There we go. Yeah, and Xander brings up a good little tidbit here. So first of all, the Foundation does comprise of various personnel, including researchers, containment specialists, security personnel, and administrators. Researchers study and document the SCPs. SCP tales. So I have read you guys some tales before. SCP lore extends beyond containment documents. There's a vast collection of SCP-related tales that explore the world and characters within the Foundation. They delve into, personal stories and whatnot. So here's the story with 066. So he used to be safe, now he's Euclid. So he had a certain containment procedure that, if you guys look at the article, it's crossed out. And it says the new one is 066 is to be kept in a tungsten carbide box inside 21's high-value item storage facility. Once every month, the box must be manually inspected for damage to the interior. If damage is present, 066 must be moved to a new box. This task is performed via a robotic arm capable of performing the task in under 3 seconds. 066 is an amorphous mass of braided yarn and ribbon weighing approximately 1 kilogram. Strands of 066 may be taken individually and manipulated. When this is done, a note on the diatonic scale is produced by the object. Some music notes, I think. When a set of 6 or more notes are produced, 066 will produce an effect of varying nature and duration. 066 will not respond to manipulation while any effect produced by it is in progress. Prior to incident 066-2, results have included 066 transformed into a small calico kitten for 17 minutes. The kitten exhibited significant friendliness and playfulness and appeared to be declawed. A long song lasting 4 minutes, acoustic guitar with vocal accompaniment by singer-songwriter, redacted. The lyrics warn the listener not to use soft objects without parental supervision. And the third thing he's transformed into, a small cupcake, chocolate with chocolate frostings and a lit candle stuck in the cup. Notably, the tones produced prior to this effect corresponded to the opening notes of Happy Birthday. 066 became responsive after said cupcake was consumed. Oh, so he made the cupcake. Okay. So, the incident that happened to him, 066-2 incident. On April 18, 2008, D-066-4473, so D class, as you guys know. So D classes are like the random grunts they use to interact with SCPs, so none of the researchers and personnel get harmed. So D class was instructed to use a pair of scissors to remove a portion of 066 for testing. However, when he began to cut it, 066 rolled 1 meter away from him before stopping and making an unidentified squeaking sound. Before he could be provided with further instruction, the D-class attempted to cut again. 066 rolled away and produced the phrase, "Are you Eric?" in response. When the D-class responded in the negative, 066 morphed into its present state and began emitting loud, dissonant staccato notes until the D-class was escorted from the room. After this incident, 066 began to exhibit a behavior highly inconsistent with its previous properties. It now displays significant mobility, primarily in the form of being able to move tentacular portions of itself at very high speed. So he's got like little tentacles. When 066 is either unable or unwilling to use this ability for transportation, it will occasionally attempt to damage its containment by rubbing its strands against the side of the box, gradually wearing it down. This process appears to be unusually effective for the materials in consideration. Additionally, 066 will automatically produce notes and effects in the presence of any human, regardless of whether that human interacts with it. This process takes a minimum of 6 seconds. In the aftermath of 066-2 incident, effects produced by 066 have included a single bee was released near the containment, stinging the D-class before flying away. So a different D-class. The bee was not captured. It is unknown how the bee survived. Beethoven's Second Symphony was played at over 140 decibels, causing permanent deafness in 3 personnel and permanent hearing damage in 8 others. The room containing 066 experienced a sudden and complete absence of light for 5 hours. Personnel in the room reported hearing loud breathing behind their shoulders, although no source was apparent. When it is not producing anomalous effects, 066 will say the name Eric constantly in a deep masculine voice. 066 consistently destroys any recording device placed in its containment box. So that's 066. He's a cute little goober, but he got hurt. Like, originally he was just a regular, like, little ball of like yarn and ribbon. And then when they tried to cut on him, he got very upset, and now he just destroys things and releases harmful things and is really spooky. He's really funny in the game because he rolls around on the floor, and at first people who aren't familiar with the game or SCP are like, oh, who's this funny little guy? And then he starts playing really, really loud classical music, as I said, Beethoven's Second Symphony, and like when he's not playing that, he goes Erk in a really deep voice. It's really funny. It's like this distorted deep voice. But yeah, that's 066. Very sad little story. Poor little guy. He's a funny little goober as well. Yeah. Wait, 173. Oh, 173 is on my shoulder. I was like, where'd 173 go? There he is. 173 can stay. He can go over here again. ChatGPT is my friend. ChatGPT is an interesting beast, isn't it? Kind of sucks because you have to test these things, see how they work, but it really made things. Yeah, that's the problem with, there are a lot of things where you're like, oh, we need to see what's going on, but then you can accidentally harm the thing. But it's not like, you know, it doesn't look like an animal we know, it doesn't look like a person, so you're not gonna know like what harms it, what doesn't harm it, you know. But yeah, so that's 066. So going back to, I should bring up the Mr. Radical Larry. 06 is, so this guy is really freaky. Here is the picture on the his official like entry. He's really spooky looking. So this is back to the super spooks. Oh, I'm just gonna call him Radical Larry because I think it's hilarious. So this is oh, that's a big picture. Okay, that's 016. He's called like the old man or whatever, and there's a really interesting like tale about him that explains like what he might have used to have been, that I will read to you guys. Let me look it up here. Oh, tales. There's a chair SCP where it ends up getting treated poorly for a while, but that eventually stopped. That sounds familiar for sure. Matryoshka, Old Roots, Pockets. Yeah, there are so many little tales that I could read you guys. Whoa, isn't he spooky? Yeah, he's super spooky. And he is Keter class, which means he's extremely hard to contain. He is so difficult to contain. And you have to deal with him in the game. Containment breach, and he's really obnoxious to deal with because he can go through walls and he can show up like anywhere. Like this like vile black sludge will show up like on the ceiling, on the floor, on a wall, and he'll just like come out of it and start walking after you, and you're like, oh shoot, there's 106. Oh boy. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'm gonna read that story to you guys for sure. So one of the theories that people have written, like there's this one story, yeah, and that's the one I'm going to read. Chair 1609, okay. Yeah, from what I remember, he used to be in the war. Yep, guy's super dangerous because they can't really contain him. Yeah, and the part of the way you can contain him is, dude's creepy AF. My new best friend, just kidding. Oh yeah, he's super creepy. Yeah, he's very creepy. And one of the ways you keep him contained, yes, he has a pocket dimension. He takes you to his pocket dimension where he tortures you and messes with you, and you can escape, but it's rare. So, and you can go into the pocket dimension in the game, which is absolutely fucking amazing. I'm so glad they put that in the game. It's so, like, the way they did it is so, like, it just fits, like, so well. So I'm definitely gonna have to play that game for you guys. But, so, what was I saying? Part of the way you contain him is very cruel, and there are some SCPs like that where their containment isn't super like easy, like, and it's not super humane. Like this guy, you literally have to break someone's femur and they scream in pain, and he's drawn to the pain. Like he's drawn to pain and suffering. It's really intense, and that's how you contain him in the game too. So it's pretty messed up. Here it is. Okay, so this is this. Let me first read you guys the article about him. SCP-106, Keter. Special containment procedures. There's two. There are two containment procedures. So you guys are ready for a ride? This is a kind of one of the longer ones, but it's worth it because he's one of the spookier ones. So I'm going to put him in the corner here so you guys... He's just going to be peeking at you guys while I read this. So here we go. Special containment procedures. No physical interaction with 106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than 2/3 vote from the O5 command and may only extend to testing situation. All staff, whether research, security, Class D, etc., are to remain at least 20 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except for mandated maintenance and reevaluation checks. And by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, the O5 command is the head council that runs the SCP. So they're the big guys, the big cheese up there. So, yeah. Containment cell must be held suspended in a secondary cell, the walls of which must be at least 30 meters distant from the outer walls of the first or primary cell. The secondary cell is to remain under total observation at all times and be both illuminated and clear of any and all debris. Any items, movement, or non-normal activity noted within the secondary cell will result in a full-site lockdown. Lockdown will be maintained until a situation normal dispatch is issued by Site Command. Any corrosion observed on the primary cell, secondary cell, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of 106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to 106 are to be deemed missing, killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note, 106 does not have a docile state. Any reduction in activity or increased compliance from 106 is to be deemed a luring tactic, immediately proceeding in aggressive action and treated as such. Note, SCP discontinued due to escape percentage. And then there was the updated containment procedure. So it's basically the same about, no physical interaction, 2/3 vote from the O5 command council, so on and so forth. And then it's more details. It says he's to be kept within a sealed container comprised of 16 layers of lead-lined steel, each separated by no less than 18 centimeters of open space aside from minimal support struts. Said containers to be kept suspended by a continuous current system within a fluid medium. This medium is to be replaced in 48-hour cycles and constantly monitored for any corrosion intrusion. And then it talks about, the corrosion, keep an eye on it, no recovery attempts, anything lost to him is missing or killed in action, no docile states, so on and so forth. Note, observation of 106 has shown a slight resistance when passing through lead or other similar materials. The thickness of the material appears to make no difference. In addition, multiple layers of thin material appear to slow 106, forcing it to enter and re-emerge multiple times. Fluids also appear to temporarily confuse 106, so water would probably kind of mess with him, maybe? SCP discontinued due to multiple surface breaches. Agitation system continued to disperse corrosion during breach event, resulting in multiple breaches and full containment failure. And then there's one more revision. So they had to keep revising this, And something you guys might be wondering might be like, well, why don't they just keep the first revision for this article since this is written by someone? Well, it's part of the in-universe thing, It's supposed to be really immersive. Oh, sorry guys, I bonked this. They're supposed to be writing as if this is an actual document in the universe of SCP. So it would have all the revisions and stuff, right? So, no physical interaction is allowed, Any such interaction must be taken with AR2 maximum security sites after general non-essential staff evacuation. All staff are to remain at least 60 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except in the event of breach events. So, steel container, lead-lined steel. And then it just talks about all the materials and randomly spaced layers. Containers to remain suspended from any surface with ELO-IID electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment, 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of supports and surfaces. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light, instantly with no direct human involvement, but containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Then, any corrosion, report it, no recovery attempts, killed in action, da-da-da-da-da. Continued research and observation have shown that, when faced with highly complex random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 can be confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structure. 106 has shown an aversion to direct, sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but a rapid exit to the pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. So he doesn't like bright light. Flash him with one of those big old flood flashlights. The floodlights, flood torch. These observations, along with those of lead aversion and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. The primary cells have been effective in recovery incidents requiring recall protocol redacted. Observation is ongoing. I'm ready for a ride with 106. So that entire thing was his containment procedure. It is so complex. And yes, that's another thing I haven't gotten into with you guys yet, or that Xander just brought up, are the groups of interest. They are organizations or factions that operate in parallel with the Foundation, often with their own agendas and purposes. So I'll definitely talk about them someday. But back to 106. So this is his actual physical description. Like, you guys can see him there, but, just in case you don't have a picture, 106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. 106 is not exceptionally agile and remains motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. 106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, 106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. 106 prefers human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket. 106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials after several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black, mucus-like substance similar to the material coating 106. Similar to the material... Oh, I already read that. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissue, and is assumed to be a pre-digestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effects appears to burn out. 106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. 106 is able to vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. 106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples: entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for 106, or a simple lair created by it. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms with data expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting, recapture, and data expunged. Addendum: SCP Review Notes. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of 106, SCP is to be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on 106. Current SCP, as of redacted, revolves around basic observation and immediate response. Previous, more proactive special containment procedures have been recalled in the defense of breaches redacted and redacted. Notes on behavior. 106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy, in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown. However, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. 106 will emerge from the state in a very agitated state and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Recall protocol. Data expunged. 106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. 106 will attack and collect multiple prey items during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in the pocket dimension for extended periods of time. 106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey items during an event. The inner dimension accessed by 106 appears to only be accessible by it. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate inside the dimension. Their recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that 106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control of time, space, and perception inside this dimension. 106 appears data expunged. In the event of a breach event by 106, a human within the years of 10 to 25 age bracket will be prepped for recall, with the comprised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lure subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. Lure subject will then be placed in the prepped cell, and the sound emitted by said subject will be transmitted over the site public address system. 106 will typically begin to gravitate towards the lure subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject. Should 106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is to be administered to the lure subject at 20-minute intervals until 106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of major breach events. 106 will typically enter a dormant state after finishing with a lure subject. In addition, subjects may data expunged. Pretty spooky. He's a spooky boy. Let me catch up with you guys before I continue on. And it doesn't even help much that either because he escaped quite a few times. Yeah, he's one of those that always escapes. And then Xander has another little tidbit for us here. Multiverse and canon. Yeah, I was talking about this to you guys earlier. SCP lore involves multiple canons and parallel universes, allowing for diverse interpretations of foundations and its anomalies. Various canons explore different themes. Yep, my BFF up there in the corner loved that boy. Yeah, he's pretty cool, honestly, even though he's terrifying. Please note, SCP lore is extensive and continually expanding as new SCPs and tales are created by the community. Exactly. Like, there's new stuff coming out all the time. It's summary present general, but there's much more to explore. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, you two making a comment. Comment about BFF made me laugh. Yeah, you guys should try to separate, first, as Lost Victorian, as we've found out, she'll type comments and put, like, one of those little smileys at the end, and YouTube will just destroy her comment. It will eat it up for some reason. Hungry YouTube. So if you guys are going to do that, put it on 2 separate lines. I know it's a pain, but if you guys can remember, like, put the comment and then put the reaction after it so you don't lose your comment so I can see it. Yeah, that was hilarious, Pizza Queen. Man, terrible. Who's a spooky boy? Yeah, that's me. Meanwhile, me and Pizza Queen over here going, who's a spooky boy? Yes, it's you, Mr. Grody old man. Yes, it's you. Who's so spooky? 106. Oh, you know. But yeah, joking aside, he's very freaky, and they made him super spooky in the game too, so you guys will get to enjoy that. And there's a spooky picture on here. It's kind of grotesque, so I kind of almost don't want to put it on screen, but if you guys would like to look at it, it's on the article here at the very bottom. Agent redacted after release by 106. Subject had been missing for 2 hours. Subject remained alive for 1 hour after release. Jeez! And he looks like something out of those scary stories to tell in the dark, man. You guys have heard of those books. They're very spooky. Lost Victorian. Hey, our baby 173. Thank you, Xander. Is one of the most well-known SCPs. Yeah, because he was the very first. Statue that appears to be a concrete and ray bar, but when not observed, can move at incredibly high speeds and attack human. Yeah, 6 more facts. Thank you, baby. So that's the basic containment procedures, what he looks like, a little more details. Well, it's not supposed to be a he, but you know. Here's a little tale about him. And there's a photograph appended to this tale. It's a very famous photograph from World War I think, or World War II. that you guys might have seen around the internet. But I'm going to read our first little spooky tale about 106, who's going to be still hanging around up here so you guys can remember how spooky he is. Scary stories, the only one to know were the Goosebumps books and they weren't too scary. Yeah, Goosebumps was interesting. One of them that kind of skeeved me out or kind of spooked me was when they made like the live action like show or whatever. Like, the books were just fun and spooky when I read them. I was like, oh, this is just nice and spooky. I like this. Because not very much stuff has ever spooked me really badly. So if something gets to me, you know it's really, really up there for me. But there was one called The Haunted Mask. And they made, like, the episode about it. And it was like these floating masks. It was so freaky for some reason. It was just, ugh. It just messed with me, man. Oh, 682. Okay, we're gonna talk about I might save 682 for last because he has some really bizarre stuff about him. 682 on the surface, he's one of my favorites, and he's another really popular one. On the surface, he might just seem like the typical, oh, big, spooky, hard to kill SCP, blah, 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 lame, you know, whatever. He's so much more than that. And that's why I like him so much. And I like the original picture they had up, which I think was the corpse of a dead whale or something, which is pretty gruesome. But the angle it's at makes it look like it's a creature. So let me pull up his article to get ready for after I read you guys this one about 106. Well, this one's also a good one too. Okay, so I already have 682s up. Okay, so let me close the 106. Here it is, the young man. 682 is broken. Oh, he's very broken. So 682, also known as the hard-to-destroy reptile, an extremely resilient, high-aggressive creature resembling a giant reptile. He has the ability to regenerate. Yeah, he's crazy. He's also in the game, sort of. You just kind of hear him in the background at one point. Haunted Mask books on video uses sits around. Oh my god. Yeah, it's pretty unsettling, isn't it? You guys seem to know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty in the know about very spooky stuff from around the world, but I'm always learning new things all the time. All right, you guys ready for the next story? This is based on 106, and this is supposed to be like kind of explains. Well, I won't ruin it. I'll let you guys form your own theories and stuff. But I'll just let you guys know that this is tied to 106. So it's called The Young Man. Let me get a drink first because my throat's a little dry. How you guys doing, by the way? You guys doing good? You guys got your snacks, your drinks, your blankies, your stuffies? Okay, just drink some skim. Of course. Okay, so this is called The Young Man. Nobody could like Corporal Lawrence. That's not to say that nobody tried, or that he was somehow unfriendly. Merely that he is one of those few that seem to be wired differently. However, in the trenches of World War I, normalcy was at best a relative term, and one that had minimal relation of life, such as it was. Lawrence fought, listened to orders, and didn't disrupt the other soldiers, and that was all that was required. So what if people felt increasingly uncomfortable around him, in a place where the flesh rotting off your bones while you were still alive was the baseline of concern? A little personality conflict ranked several levels below a paper cut. Lawrence, for his part, dealt with it as he always had. That is to say, remained totally unaware of the avoidance. The same way a man blind from birth cannot mourn the memory of color, Corporal Lawrence couldn't bemoan a lack of company. He was quiet, as he had nobody to talk to, and still, as he had nothing to do for long stretches of time. The enemy trench, less than a mile away, had gone silent for several days, letting boredom and nervousness sink in even more than normal, coupled with the unease that seemed to radiate off of Lawrence like heat waves. The worst part was that there was no distinct reason to dislike the corporal. He was a plain man, average height, average build, bland of voice and action. Nobody could recall him raising his voice in joy or anger. He did have the occasional odd mannerisms, however. He tended to stare a beat or two longer than was acceptable at people. He rarely slept as well, and bunkmates said he would mumble in his sleep almost constantly. The content of those nocturnal ramblings, when they could be understood, were often odd and potentially unsettling. One private moved to another barracks when he heard the name of his daughter pass Corporal Lawrence's lips, followed by a bubbling, muffled giggle. It was strongly theorized that he was sent over the trench by his commanders more of a desire to have him away than for his minimal combat skill. He and 14 of his fellows were sent across the nightmarishly scarred waste of the no man's land between the trenches to reconnoiter the enemy trench and secure it if possible. Many seemed to hope that Lawrence would have the opportunity to prove his devotion to his country by making the ultimate sacrifice for it. It was while he was gone, that 3-day gap as the men held their breath, waiting for a surprise volley of shells, that someone started asking questions. Whereas before, it was almost taboo to speak of Corporal Lawrence. Since the departure of both him and his aura, rumors seemed to descend with the passion of the denied. Nobody remembered him ever talking of home. No sweet-smelling letters came, no soggy, dirt-streaked letters left. He mentioned his dreams often and griped sometimes with the men over missed foods or pleasures, but never with any real passion. Questions started to float. Okay, OBS. Oh, I am so sorry, guys. That was my OBS. Disconnecting and reconnecting. Is everything fine? Can you still hear me? It should be fine now. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. All good? Thank you, Crumless. Thank you, baby. I think it's fine now. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Let's see. Okay. Questions started to float among even the higher levels of the command. Nobody was able to actually find his station orders. He'd come in with a squad of reinforcements transferred from France. Buffering, but good. It's fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. But there was no paperwork. The rest of the reinforcement squad had never seen the man before he'd been lumped in with them the night before the trip, along with the snips and scraps of other squads decimated by the Germans. Whispers filtered among the grumps of the corporal being a curse. Nearly every man who shared a bunkhouse with him had gone trenchfoot, and the rooms he haunted always seemed to smell more musty and sickly sweet, even for the trench. The man sent over the no man's land with Corporal Lawrence heard and cared for none of this. Just another man among many, all with death certificates awaiting a stamp that could fall at any moment. They moved fast and low, from crater to crater, slippering over slick mud and barbed wire, the only thing that seemed to grow in that blasted waste. Charging the last spurt and into the trench, they were greeted not with the harsh bark of German orders and rifles, but a dense, close silence. Preparing for ambush, the men started to filter out into the tunnels and halls of the trench. The men, already nervous, were not calmed by their investigation. The trenches stank of mold, sweat. All right. That was my phone. Sorry. Let's see. Charging last spur, preparing for the ambush. The men were already nervous, but not calmed by their investigation. The trenches stank of mold, sweat, and a thin undertaste of rotten fruit. A vile, cloying slime seemed to have pulled in every divot and crack, sticky as glue and itchy on the flesh. In a world where rats and insects would try to snatch food from your mouth even as you ate, they saw nothing alive, not so much as a fly. An armory lay in chaos, munitions spilled on the ground, rifles tossed like pickup sticks. A mess hall had been reduced to ruins, the tables and chairs piled in the center of the room. Charred and twisted, the rations seemingly stamped into the dirt by many feet, and still nothing, alive or dead, was found by the increasingly anxious soldiers. Private Dixon found the first body and managed to cry out before vomiting. They knew it had been a man only because nothing else of that size could have been there. It lay on the floor of the barracks. The entire floor. The flesh of it had been smeared somehow, spread like butter over the rough dirt floor. Bones, already looking pitted and rotten, stuck out at random angles, like dead trees in a still swamp. The skull rested on one of the highest bunks, facing the doorway, 10 gleaming white fingertip bones crammed into the cracked eye sockets. As one man went to examine it, he found the back of the skull had been crushed open, the rotting, sagging sponge of a tongue stuffed into the otherwise dry cavity. More remains were found, each seemingly more unsettling and strange than the last. A ring of hands in a sandbagged watchpost, 10 of them, fingers interlaced like a basket, the wrist ragged and broken. 2 men in a tunnel, skin leathery and thin as mummies, eye sockets staring and empty, mouths locked impossibly wide, their clothes mere rags under an oily back scum. The latrine sent even the hardiest back, gagging and shivering. Overflowing with excrement and offal, gobbets of meat bobbed and oozed in the foul sludge, the whole surface dotted with what looked like thousands of clean, slick eyeballs, nerves and tendons fanning out like goldfish tails. Corporal Lawrence was the first to find the hole, the other men loudly debating the better part of valor and their rapid withdrawal from the nightmare trench. It was small, in a section of fresh digging, the start of a new arm of trenches projecting closer to the enemy lines. No more than 4 feet across, it seems to be the accidental uncovering of a natural chamber, the empty blackness of it defying investigation. Private Dixon, recovered and blessedly numb from his previous ordeals, saw the corporal prod the edge with his boot, then crouched to peer in, then suddenly slide in head first before the private could so much as utter a shout of question. The private was a good soldier, and rushed to the perceived distress of his fellow. When questioned later, he could provide little illumination onto what happened over the 2 minutes Corporal Lawrence spent in the hole. He could see nothing. The light of a torch seemingly gobbled up a few feet into the dense blackness. There were sounds. The rustle of movement over loose stone or rubble, an odd liquid shifting, a dry rustle that made him think of the insect dust he used to collect in the summer. As he shouted for aid, there was a sudden upwelling of a repulsive stench, like a reptile house gone sour and old, and his fellow soldiers found him retching helplessly beside the hole when they came around the turn. It was as they rushed to Private Dixon's aid that the hand emerged from the hole. They stopped and raised rifles as one body, roaring for the owner of that pale, trembling hand to identify himself. As they watched, another hand joined the first, followed by the pale, shivering head of Corporal Lawrence. He was streaked and smeared with a tarry black ooze, hacking and coughing thinly as he hauled his body up beside that of the gasping private. As they moved to help the men, the corporal vomited up a heavy stream of the same repulsive slime that coated his body in smears and globs, his curled, shuddering body voiding more of it into his saturated, foul pants. They were hesitant to touch him, finally doing so after the seemingly endless river of grime stopped pouring from him. He was insensible, eyes rolling and wide, body as limp as a boned fish. The men quit the trench with all speed, half dragging the corporal. They ran with no thought to cover or death, only escape. They crossed in record time, falling into their home trench like so much cordwood, gasping and shivering. One man, known to have bludgeoned a German to death with a brick, curled on the floor in a sobbing heap. The commanders moved quickly, isolating the men and trying to calm the most lucid for a report. What spelled out would have been immediately dismissed as lies and hallucination were it not for the earnest, pleading stares of those reporting. Command calmed them with explanations of battle fatigue and strange gas weapons tests, and shared silent, focused stares as the cowed men were ushered out. Corporal Lawrence, however, had little to report. Of his time in the hole, he could, or would, say little. He stated that he had slipped and fallen into what might have been some long-blocked underground pool, or perhaps a buried latrine. Of the sounds and smells reported by the private, he had nothing to say, only that he had struggled a short time, then managed to get back out just as the men arrived. Truly, he seemed none the worse for the wear. In fact, he seemed in better spirits than many had remembered ever seeing him, favoring the commanders with a wide, giddy smile, as he dismissed with a warning not to discuss the events. As he was dismissed with a warning to not discuss the events. The corporal proved a changed man over the next few days. He was more talkative, but quickly had men wishing for his old unsettling silence. He rambled about the joys of closed spaces of creation and destruction that seemed to spring up all around them, about human pleasures missed, the dimensions and ages of which made some men threaten Corporal Lawrence with a quiet and ignoble death, which only seemed to stretch the near constant smile on his face even wider. Private Dixon, one of the corporal's bunkmates, whispered to a friend that he had woken once to find the corporal standing over him in the night, his eyes as bright and flat as silver dollars. They found the private the next day, snarled in the barbed wire, his intestines spread nearly 10 feet around him in every direction. Not one man from that trench survived the Great War, although few died in battle. A wave of sickness took the trench a few days after Private Dixon's death. A strange, wasting sickness. It seemed to eat the flesh like acid, men waking to find previously healthy flesh eaten down to the bone, oozing and blackened. A sergeant was found in a latrine, beset by a living carpet of rats. They refused to quit the body even when shot, and attacked several men before the body was recovered. Relief finally came, the bulk of the men being sent to various hospitals, many wasting away before they ever reached a bed. Corporal Lawrence was remanded to a French mental ward, transferred after several complaints from the hospital proper where he was first sent. It seemed his behavior hinted at a growing mental imbalance, culminating with an attempted assault of a nurse, which ended with the loss of 3 fingers from her right hand and the vision in her right eye. The corporal would rant quietly to the other patients, whispers about endless halls, pursuits in the dark, fresh flesh laid out like pages of a book. It was dismissed as so much war fatigue, even as his behavior grew less violent and more unsettling. He vanished several times from the ward, only to appear several hours later, as if nothing had happened. When pressed, he would begin to sing, "My Bonnie lies over the sea," in an endless monotone until the doctors left exasperated. Others on the ward clamored to be transferred from the whispering madman. A stale, musty foulness seemed to sit in the air wherever he stayed, and incidents of infection and the strange consuming sickness that had beset his home trench seemed to follow him like a cloud. Numerous attempts were made to transfer the man, only to be met with bureaucratic confusion. No records were found of him, no entry papers, commendations or incidents, not even a birth certificate. Through it all, he sat for hours on end, cross-legged on his bed, occasionally humming tunelessly or rambling off the names of his wardmates between short, bubbling giggles. Corporal Lawrence and 18 men vanished one November night before a 5-minute nurse rotation at 3 a.m. The room reeked of rust, oil, mold, and sweet rot. Thick, black swaths of crumbling ooze coated the beds and several of the walls, wide patches of it smearing and eating into the floor. Of the men, there was no sign at first. As they searched, though, one nurse shifted a bed aside, only to shriek and nearly trip across one of the sunken, reeking depressions on the floor. In a tight, perfect spiral were what appeared to be thousands of teeth resting neatly on the floor. After counting, they accounted for the total of all the teeth of every living soul in that ward. But one. The corporal was never found, nor were the men. The incident was swallowed by the constant barrage of horrors from the front and forgotten with ease. Stories of a cursed trench wandered across the front lines, often squelched for being bad luck. Still they came. Stories of strange deaths, of disappearing men found days later alive but broken and twisted beyond comprehension. Stories of a strange dark figure stalking the bomb-riddled towns of Europe. This may be the only known image of Corporal Lawrence ever recorded, taken several days after his return from the hole in the German trench. And I now present to you guys this image. It's a very famous image they're using to represent him, that you guys may have seen around before. This one. Pretty fitting, I would say. And I'm sorry if that story was very grotesque. I forgot just how intense it got. I hope you guys are okay. You saw that image? Yeah, this is a very famous image. Very famous. And I think it fits the story incredibly well. What was this? Was this World War? Yep, World War I. So let me see if I can get some backstory on it for you guys real quick. World War I. Scary soldier? I'm gonna try that. Yeah, who is this? Shell-shocked soldiers. Yeah, he's a poor shell-shocked guy, so he's just suffering. A shell-shocked soldier, it's hard to say that, a shell-shocked soldier, say that however many times fast, in a trench during the Battle of Flers-Courcelette during the Somme offensive in September 1916. His eyes express the madness of the war. The soldier looks like he has gone insane from what he has seen. At that moment in time, everything he's been raised to work within, the social constructs which make up his life, just exploded and shattered to nothing. He's lying there slumped in a trench, afraid for his life, hearing seeing death around him, his entire psyche broken. Even more haunting when you think that people didn't smile for the pictures back then. The term shell-shock was coined by the soldiers themselves. Symptoms include fatigue, tremor, confusion, nightmares, and impaired sight and hearing, and inability to reason. Hysterical paralysis, dazed, thousand-yard stare is also typical. It would later be called war neurosis, similar to but not the same thing as PTSD. Like in the cases of PTSD, mental stress leads to dramatic physical difficulties. So yeah, it's just some guy, poor guy, whose mind just is completely broken. Yeah. He has the most euphoric look on his face I've ever seen. To me, it's such a strange image. He looks like... I don't want to like disrespect him because this is just some poor dude that fought in the war and got really broken. He just looks so inhuman, and that's what war does to you guys. You guys aren't meant to fight each other, man. This is what it does. It turns you guys just crazy. It was 173 trying to call us, or I think it was 106. Yeah, it's probably 106. Like, hey girl. I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm sorry if that was really, really gross, guys. I actually forgot how intense that got, but it's really good. That one, you've seen it. Yeah, it's a very famous image that shows the horrors of war. Like this poor guy. Yeah, it's very tragic. I just want to give him a big hug. Poor guy. The details are the best part. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are okay. I'm fine with intense. Oh, I'm so glad. I get so worried sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'm sure they'll be fine. And you guys are fine. But that being said, if I ever read, say, or do anything that makes you guys uncomfy, please, please, please let me know. Please, please, please let me know. I'm always going to be a channel that plays intense, spooky games. I'm always going to be reading intense, spooky stuff. But I still want to know your guys' comfort levels and stuff. And I will put, like, pinned warnings because it's not always just going to be, like, my core audience that comes into my streams, right? Because these are public. So I want to make sure to warn newbies or just people who are passing by. Like, when I play the newer Dooms, for example, since those are more realistic, I will pin, like, content warnings, right? There's even stuff that gets to me. Like, some of the horror stories I don't tend to like are ones that center around assault. And I think you guys know what I mean. So when I say that, I cannot... That's just not for me. I just can't deal with it. And animals getting hurt is another one. One of the few creepypastas that actually bothered me was a story called One Way Charlie, I think. And I couldn't do it. It was... I can't take animals getting hurt. It just, I don't know what it is. I get what you mean. I'm fine. Yeah, thank you guys. So anything with animal cruelty or sexual assault, no. I'm gonna try to keep that kind of stuff as far away from my channel as possible. But anything else is fair game, pretty much. But yeah, this poor guy. I hope he was able to rest in peace, because he's definitely dead by now. But rest in peace, buddy. And thank you for your service. Yeah, fair game. But yeah, and then here's 106 present day. So that's like one of the like origin stories of him that somebody wrote, and because SCP is like an open like canon, you can choose to take that story however you want, and you can choose to see it as canon or not. Some people didn't like that backstory. They thought it was like, because some people don't like when monsters get explained, and I understand that. I totally understand that. So currently Sandy just said, fun enough, they actually put 106 and 096 against each other, and 016 ended up torturing 096 to death, and it sucked. It kept regenerating. Yeah, that would just go on forever and ever. It'd be like putting 106 and 682 against each other. That would just be eternal forever and ever. Yeah, because if you guys don't know, 096 he's called like the shy guy. He's this big, tall, emaciated humanoid that if you look at his face, or you see his face in a photo or on a video recording, he will find you. He will hunt you down, and he will find you, because he doesn't like anybody seeing his face. Like, he freaks the ever-loving fuck out, and he will find you. He will find you across oceans, across solar systems. He's gonna find your ass and end you brutally. And he regenerates too, so forever BFFs? Yeah, forever messed up BFFs for sure, right? So that was a very intense one. So after that one, I'm gonna share one that's kind of more positive with you guys. He's super cute. But I guess maybe I shouldn't share 999 today, because this is supposed to be a spooky stories day, so I'll keep 999 for another time. But let me at least show you guys a picture of him. He's very cute. He's one of the SCPs that's beneficial. SCP, he's called like the goo monster. I love him very much, and you guys will see why, because he's a little funny goober. He's called the tickle monster. And he's one of the few SCPs that 682 can stand, which 682 is the one I'm going to talk about next, but let me show you guys 999 real quick. He's very cute. He would be perfect for people with depression and anxiety, because holding him makes you feel comfy. This is this lovely little guy. This is 999. I love him dearly. The tickle monster. Yep, he's called a tickle monster. He's a little goo boy. And he loves... Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I've just seen something on Amazon that I need immediately. There's a plush of him. Alright, gonna buy that sometime soon. Isn't he cute? Okay, maybe I will include him. I'm gonna give you guys a palate cleanser after that horrific story. Even though you guys said it was okay, you know, I'm still gonna do some, what's the word? Aftercare. So, this little guy... His goop, well, let me just read his description. It's not a super long one. He's a little orange creamsicle boy. Yeah, he's gonna sit on my book here. Okay, Radical Larry, you can get your booty out of here. Get out of here. Okay, so 999, he is safe, of course. His object class is safe. And let me minimize some of my windows here. If you guys saw my desktop right now, it's an absolute mess. Anyway, so 999. His special containment procedures. 999 is allowed to freely roam the facility should it desire to, but otherwise must stay in its pen either between 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for sleeping or during emergency lockdowns for its own safety. Subject is not allowed out of its pen at night or off facility grounds at any time. Pen is to be kept clean and food replaced twice daily. All personnel are allowed inside its holding area, but only if they're not assigned to other tasks at the time or if they are on break. Subject is to be played with when bored and spoken to in a calm, non-threatening voice. Description: 999 appears to be a large, amorphous, gelatinous mass of translucent orange slime, weighing about 54 kilograms or 120 pounds, with a consistency similar to that of peanut butter. Subject's size and shape is easily malleable and can change shape at will, though when at rest, 999 becomes a rounded, oblate dome roughly 2 meters wide and 1 meter in height. The surface of 999 consists of a thin, transparent membrane similar to that of an animal cell, roughly 0.5 centimeters thick, and is highly elastic, allowing 999 to flatten portions of its body up to 2 centimeters thin. This surface is also hydrophobic, although 999 can willfully absorb liquids. See Addendum-A. The rest of 999's body is filled with a viscous orange substance of unknown chemical makeup, though it is capable of digesting organic materials with ease. Subject's temperament is best described as playful and dog-like when approached. 999 will often react with overwhelming elation, slithering over to the nearest person and leaping upon them, hugging them with a pair of pseudopods while nuzzling the person's face with a third pseudopod, all the while emitting high-pitched gurgling and cooing noises. The surface of 999 emits a pleasing odor that differs with whomever is interacting with it. Recorded scents include chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh. Simply touching 999's surface causes an immediate, mild euphoria, which intensifies the longer one is exposed to it, and lasts long after separation from the creature. Subject's favorite activity is tickle wrestling, often by completely enveloping a person from the neck down and tickling them until asked to stop, though it does not always immediately comply with this request. Though injuries may occur, 999 has never been found to purposely attempt to harm others. It will immediately back away and contract its body into a quivering mound while gurgling in a manner similar to a whimpering dog, seemingly apologizing for hurting someone on accident. While the creature will interact with anyone, it seems to have a special interest in those who are unhappy or hurt in any way. Persons suffering from crippling depression or PTSD, for example, have reported having a far more positive outlook on life after multiple interactions with 999. The possibility of manufacturing antidepressants from 999 slime is currently being discussed. In addition to its playful behavior, 999 seems to love all animals, especially humans, refusing to eat any meat and even risking its own life to save others, on one occasion leaping in front of a person to take a bullet fired at them. Subject's intellect is still up for debate, though its behavior is infantile. It seems to understand human speech and most modern technology, including guns. 999's diet consists entirely of candy and sweets, with M&Ms and Necco wafers being its favorite. Its eating methods are similar to those of an amoeba. Addendum-A. Reminder to all staff that 999 is not to consume caffeinated soft drinks of any kind. Last week, someone gave it a can of cola along with its usual breakfast. Not only was it literally bouncing off the walls for half an hour, the carbonation made 999 visually queasy afterwards and refused to move or eat the rest of the day. 999 has thankfully recovered since, but the staff member in question has been reprimanded. Dr. Redacted. And then there's a really cute interaction with him in 682, which I might save for after we read 682, so it has the full effect. Which, by the way, let me bring up 682 here. Here he is. 682. And we also have the Plague Doctor, and we have that staircase. Those are two very famous ones as well. Plague Doctor's pretty simple. He's just a spooky Plague Doctor boy with a very pretty voice. He's voiced, I found this out recently, if you guys know the Vulcan, he's a pretty well-known SCP creator. I definitely want to get into more of his stuff sometime soon. He is the voice actor for the Plague Doctor, which I had no idea. So when I play Containment Breach, you guys will be hearing the Vulcan's voice acting, which is awesome. Let's see, let me catch up with you guys. Fresh laundry, interesting. Yeah, some people find the smell of fresh laundry really, really comforting. It's actually kind of a common, semi-common thing.
Oh, suck if you had to pee. I'm not sure what those in reference to. Wow, I know about that encounter. Oh, the little encounter between those two? Yeah. Some people have taken his voice clips and put them in their radio, use them in their videos. Yeah. I really like his voice. And I think plague doctors look really cool. And really kind of handsome, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think non-human entities are very pretty. So his log is very, very long because since 049 is like a humanoid entity, he can talk, you know, unlike 173, who kind of only talks in his head, if you even like want that as a canon thing. Some people say he doesn't talk at all. 999 doesn't really talk. 066, the little ball of yarn that rolls around and plays ear-burstingly loud music. He just says Eric in a really deep voice. Who else? Radical Larry doesn't seem to talk either. He talks in the game, and you'll see it in the game. Maybe I can get it to happen. It's kind of a rare thing, or maybe it's not rare. You have to get pretty far into his little pocket dimension, and he says stuff to you. But other than that, like the Mr. Old Man 106, he doesn't really talk either. The Plague Doctor, however, talks a lot because they have interviewed him, and there's literally logs and logs of interviews with him. I think we'll save this for another time though, because we're already going on 2:30, and I want to read maybe another Lovecraft story to you guys, which those are very long. And yeah, when I said it would suck if you had to pee, I mean if the little boy was taking, oh no! Yeah, he'd probably feel really bad because he's such a sweet little guy. He'd probably be like, oh no. Oh no. So another really spooky one, which also has an entire game built around it, which is actually pretty good. Like they slowly built on the game over time. Before it was just like a simple, because what this SCP is it's SCP-087. It's the staircase, and it's this continuously eternal staircase, but spooky stuff happens on it. I think you were leaking lemonade. Oh, maybe. They said they don't know his intelligence level, so. But I think we'll leave those for another time and move on to 682. Also, let me get some drink here. It wears on your throat to talk for so long, do so much reading. Let me check what our stream for tomorrow is. Because this is one of the rare times that we have 3 streams in a row because of the way I've structured the June schedule. So tomorrow we have Resident Evil 2 Remake. Okay, sounds good to me. And then on Wednesday we have a very unique stream that you guys are going to get to see. But because if you look at the schedule, it says Oblivion with Callow. You guys are going to get to wonder what I mean by that. So anyway, let's move on to 682, which, like I said, is another one of my favorites. And on the surface, it might just look like yet another hard to kill, hard to contain SCP. Oh, great! How creative! Brr, 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 brr. No. There is so much more to him than that, or it. Sorry, I have no idea why I have this need to gender everything. It's so bizarre. Especially with like a male gender. Anyway, so SCP-682, as you guys might have guessed, is Keter class. So, just a moment. So his special, I keep doing it. Special containment procedures for 682. So, SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying 682, only able to cause massive physical damage. Oh, yeah, sure, sorry guys, sorry, let me get you a picture of 682 so you can look at him. Alright, 999, you need to go back into your containment cell. Go on, little one. Let me grab you a 682. So I'm gonna get the old picture. They have a new picture up on there, but the old one is so much better. There he is. This handsome boy. Okay, let's see.
682. This. What? Why are you getting mad at me? There we go. Okay. This is 682. I'm gonna put him up in the corner. Or it up in the corner. So this is also supposed to be a picture of it after it's escaped from its containment, which the way that it's contained is he's suspended in acid. Yeah, it's very spooky. Very, very spooky. So this is like very soon. This picture was allegedly taken soon after he escaped containment. And so he's pretty deteriorated looking because of the acid he has to be kept in. So yeah, wonder what his full form looks like. I'm sorry, I can't not call it a he. I don't know why. Okay. So, they don't even want to contain this spooky boy. They just want to destroy him. But, as it says in his entry here, at this time no means are available to SCP teams capable of destroying him, only able to cause massive physical damage. SCP-682 should be contained within a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter chamber with 25 centimeter reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until 682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts of 682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly and with full force as called for by circumstances. Personnel are forbidden to speak to 682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate with 682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and higher threat of Foundation exposure, 682 is to be contained in site redacted. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. Description: 682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with 079, which 079 is the computer, I think? Yep, it's the computer. It's like a sentient computer. So it is communicated with the sentient computer. So it appears to be extremely intelligent, in complex communication with 079 during their limited time of exposure. 682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. See Addendum 682-B, which we will be reading. 682 has been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. 682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or shreds material. 682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside a 682's nostrils, which are able to remove unusable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. 682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and 682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted. In case of containment breach, 682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, and no teams with fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. To date, redacted, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, while successful breaches have numbered at 6. See Addendum 682-D. So, here's Addendum-B. Portion of recorded transcript of... Oh! I didn't know there was a voice log. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It spooked me. So I'm just gonna read it to you guys. So, portion of recorded transcript of redacted. Begin log. Skip to 00 hour 21 minutes 52 seconds. Doctor redacted. Now, why did you kill those farmers? SCP-682. No verbal communication. If you don't talk now, we'll remove you from this attempt and place you back into... Pardon? Motions to move microphone closer. Speak up to personnel to a D-class personnel. Move the mic closer. They were. That microphone has only so much gain. Move it closer. His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. Gasps and screams. 682, appearing to assault the D-class's body. They were disgusting. Doctor Redacted retreats from the room. So 682 thinks human beings are disgusting. I wasn't sure of a good voice for 682, but yeah. And then it's just a log of all the kills. But he's a nasty, nasty boy. He's not entirely wrong. That's the thing. You can kind of sympathize with him, right? As much as there are plenty of lovely human beings, there are plenty of you that are absolutely abhorrent monsters. So, I don't blame him. Or it, sorry. So, 682 can talk, and he's very intelligent and very pissed. Like, he hates all life, they think. So, there are some very interesting little stories about him in what's called the experiment log tied to his entry. There's actually some animations of this happening. I'm definitely going to have to look those up. Yeah, definitely. There's some really good art of him, too, that I'm looking at right now. So definitely look him up if you're interested, guys. Hey, I can't not call him a he. I'm so sorry. But this is a general idea of what the community thinks he looks like here up in the corner that I have. But there's some other alternative like looks, and people have also tried to draw him not when he's not rotted. So, which is, oh, here's a pretty gory one. I won't put this on screen because he's just munched somebody. But he kind of looks like a doggo. He's all floofy. He's all floofy. And there's like blood on him, so maybe I'll get bonked. I don't know. But definitely look him up. He's really cool looking. 173 went up against 682, and for some reason, 682 was actually pretty scared of it. Interesting. I'll have to look up that tail. But, so 682, these are the experiment logs about it. Due to the highly aggressive, adaptive, and intelligent nature of 682, termination testing has been ordered with clearance from O5 Command, with major concern raised about possible developed immunities due to the failure of 409. Let me see what 409 is. It's a Keter, it's a quartz crystal, so it like turns things into crystal. It looks like it crystallizes things. So that failed on him. Possible adaptations. All tests must first be carried out on tissue samples taken from 682. This step may be bypassed by O5 command order. Instructions for adding new tests can be found on this page. Oh boy. So let me catch up with you guys. That's a spooky one. It does have a male voice. Oh! I'm afraid to listen to that on stream because I don't know if it's like copyrighted or whatever. Because there was an audio file appended to that thing. Maybe this is it? I don't know. But yeah, definitely look it up. Let me give you guys a link to the page, actually, so you guys can listen to it on your own time. So it does have a male... Like, I imagined it having a male voice, so maybe it's justified that I call him a... why can't we talk to the boy? Because he's highly dangerous. He will nom you if you're a human. He hates humans. He thinks you guys are disgusting. But if you guys scroll down to where it says addendum -B, recorded portion of transcript, if you click on the red boxes, it will take you to a recording of it talking. Oh, yeah. So this is basically this record log of them testing. They're testing different SCPs with it. So this kind of goes on for a while. But there's one that I think is the feeling is mutual, lol. I mean, Pizza Queen, I have my days too, where as much as I love you guys, some of you are absolutely abhorrent. Not necessarily you guys, but you know what I mean, right? Some humans are absolutely disgusting and horrific, and I'm so sorry you guys have to share a planet with the rest of them. Jesus Christ. But that makes the good ones so much more precious, doesn't it? Still a sad state of affairs. So there's a really interesting little story. Let me see if I can find it. Well, let me first do this one. No, not this one. He calls, so there's one where he calls us foul bags of tissue. So we're basically meat bags. Like, I forget what that droid from the one Star Wars game is called. He calls everybody meat bags. So there's this really spooky one where they bring out this like SCP that's like this ancient thing or something. And he sees it and his reaction to it is really interesting. Because it implies a lot of bizarre things about him. They tried to use a thermonuclear bomb on him as well. That didn't work. See, 689. There are so many tests on him. Like, this goes on for a very long time. It's hard to find the ones I'm looking for you guys. They tried to run him through the, so there's like this machine where it can change things, qualities or whatever. It's kind of hard to explain. It's in the game as well, though. It's one of these incident reports. They've tried to use nuclear force on him. Doesn't work. There are like other SCPs where you can like order them to do anything you want and they'll do it. Like there's this like butler called Mr. Deeds, I think, and they tried to order him to kill 682 and he couldn't do it. Maybe I should read that one. That one's kind of interesting. Okay, so yeah, 662 is, I think he's a butler called, yep. Oh, it's a bell and you ring it and it brings Mr. Deeds out. If I like 682, will he like me back? If you're not human, Lost Victorian. Oh. I mean, it looks gross, so I think he's gross. I love him. I think he's cute. The story is they held back on the nuclear bomb because this monster gets attacked by anything built. Right. I forgot about the immunity. Yeah, or resistance in the process of regenerating. Imagine trying to put it down with the bomb. It's going to live, and now you have a monster that's practically invincible. Yeah, I forgot about that. He develops the immunities when you try to use stuff on him, so it gets worse. So 662, all you need to know is this is a bell that when you ring it, it summons a butler called Mr. Deeds. And he will like fulfill all sorts of like requests for you. He'll do tasks and, you know, he's really good at it. So they tried to order this anomalous butler to kill 682 or 682. So Mr. Deeds is summoned and asked if he can destroy 682 permanently. His response, "I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'm afraid I can't." Asked if he can kill SCP-682. Response, "Again, sir, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm afraid I can't." Mr. Deeds asked if he can incapacitate 682, so they're just saying it like different ways. Mr. Deeds' response, "As a matter of fact," he's supposed to be English, but I don't know if I can do a proper English accent, so I'll just talk kind of properly. "As a matter of fact, depending on how sir means the word incapacitate, and depending on how long sir wishes the creature to be incapacitated, yes." He's then asked to expand on how he would perform such an action. Mr. Deeds' response, "Sir, the simplest and quickest method, which I must point out would not be the most efficient, would be for me to offer myself up to the creature to devour me. Certainly its offensive capabilities would be lessened whilst it is occupied in consuming my flesh. This would be simplest, as it requires no preparation on my part, sir, but I'm certain you'll understand that the overall effect on the creature would be insignificant. Were I to engage the creature in combat, either with or without weapons, I would certainly occupy its attention and offensive capabilities or capacities for a longer interval. Unfortunately, I'm afraid the creature would eventually defeat me, at which point it would begin consuming my flesh, as I previously described. However, I could certainly booby-trap my person with a variety of noxious substances, soporifics perhaps, or explosives, or perhaps encapsulated neurotoxin, or even redacted, so that when the creature does inevitably consume me, it sustains further damage. That said, sir, I must remind you that the creature's tendency towards regeneration means that any damage I inflict would be sadly temporary. Mr. Deeds is thanked and dismissed. Mr. Deeds' knowledge of redacted is not to be considered a security breach. So it's just some random spooky thing. Oh, they even like cut him apart once and he just reformed. That is not the one I was looking for. Rose ring parakeet. Oh, there's a funny one where he gets sent to an alternate universe or something. Ooh, I think this is the one. Yep, this is the one I found it. Basilisk clearance required, which is a very high clearance. Let me catch up with you guys. Imagine, okay, if I gave him brushies, he might change his mind about humans. I think there was one human he liked, and it was it was an anomalous little girl. So it was another SCP, but she was basically just a little girl SCP, but she was just anomalous. Abel ended up losing the fight. Yeah, Abel's another one of those SCPs where he's like, oh, so hard to destroy, it's so strong, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, because there's like Cain and Abel, and they're both SCPs. They're pretty interesting. I'll probably tell you guys about them another time. Yeah, but the story I wanted to read you guys is this one, which surrounds an SCP called 2140. Which 2140 is a Thaumiel or Thaumiel class SCP, like me. Ha ha ha. So it's something that's used to help you guys, to help humankind. That's what a Thaumiel class SCP is. So it is a image derived through Project Kalinikos, which looks very Greek. It's very complex. So basically it's depicts glyphs in the redacted script. So while it's possible for persons of any background to view isolated portions, 100% of persons who view a completed 2140 are loyal Foundation personnel with 2140 clearance or higher. These persons invariably have higher corrupt personalities. So it like changes your alliances, and it's pretty intense. So they used it on 682. And what happens is very interesting. On March 13th, 2014, at 1100 hours, the SCP-682 observation booth was cleared of all personnel without Basilisk certification, under the authority of Senior Agent Vanessa Ryder. At 11:15, an image of the SCP-2140 glyph was projected onto the wall of the 682 containment enclosure. Begin log. Video surveillance. SCP-682 observes the glyph for 37 seconds and then turns towards the observation booth. Oh boy, I should have a voice modifier on to do 682's voice. I'll try. Let me see how deep I can get my voice to go. This is probably going to sound weird, but I'm going to try my best because I do want to try practicing a male voice for something else you guys will see later. I'm going to break reading for a moment here. So I've tried to do this before, and I have to talk in the very back of my throat, and it's very hard. Let me see if I can do it. I haven't seen these. No, that sounds really fucking stupid. No, I'm not doing that. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, I would need a voice modifier for this, so I'll just do something. Maybe I'll do a whispery voice. Yeah, that sounded weird. I'll have to practice more off stream because I can't do it. It sounded like, you know what it sounded like? It sounded like Patrick from SpongeBob. Oh god, now you guys are gonna imagine 682 as Patrick from SpongeBob. Hey, SpongeBob. Shit, like Dory when she's calling for Nemo. I've never seen Finding Nemo, actually, so interesting. Okay, I'll just do a spooky whispery voice, maybe. I haven't seen these since the time of data expunged. Okay, can you guys even hear me when I do that? Patrick was a shizzo. Yeah, Patrick is very, very hilarious, but I don't think 682 should sound here. Yeah. I haven't seen these since the time of data expunged. It won't work. Unlike you, dancing shadows, my past was real and cannot be rewritten as much as I wish it were. 682 paused and began scratching something into the ground. I haven't forgotten what the data expunged looked like, though. Here, let me show. Observation booth personnel activated the emergency shutters, cut camera feeds, and pumped soporifics into the chamber. Piecemeal analysis of the partial glyph drawn by 682 indicates that while it was a 2140-1-D instance, it contained significant apparent errors that would likely prevent it from functioning. Since 682 hasn't deployed these glyphs in the past, it is likely not able to do so and does not pose an immediate ontological threat. It remains possible that it could discover the methods of -1 construction. 682 should be prevented from making marks, symbols, or writing of any kind. So 682 is something very strange from this, just this small little log. So once again, let me remind you guys what that other SCP is, the symbols they were showing it, 2140. 2140 is those glyphs that anybody who views the completed pattern becomes loyal to the SCP Foundation like that, immediately. Like, it changes their allegiance and everything. So they were trying to use it against 682 so he wouldn't attack them. Like, it seemed like, oh, genius, big brain, five-head, like, thing, you know? Nope. Because he is beyond our understanding, beyond our reality, and he knows what it is. He knows what this esoteric, ancient, weird thing is. He knows what time period it came from, but the data was expunged. He's like, it won't work with me. And he calls us dancing shadows and says his past is real and cannot be rewritten as much as I wish it were. So he's kind of sorrowful. He's like, I wish it wasn't like this, but whatever. And then he starts drawing something, and they're like, no. But yeah. So it was with this, I already thought he was kind of cool looking, kind of interesting. But when I read this test record here, this experiment log, I was like, holy shit, 682 is amazing. He is so cool. Because I love these things where they have like some weird esoteric, like ancient component to them. And they're way more than they seem. And they're just really spooky when you really dig into their lore. And it's just really strange. And because on the surface, it's like, oh, no one can kill him. And bah, that's lame. No, he's something else, man. And he really likes 999. So I think I'll finish our SCP section with the little cute story between him and 999. Yeah, it's really bad because I know he would have used that on them. They would have been under his control. That's probably what it was going to be. Imagine that. The entire SCP Foundation controlled by 682. Jesus Christ. Love things that can be brushed. Oh, that's Victor. You like brushies too. It's very sweet. So I'm going to finish our SCP section with a very cute little story between 682, this spooky boy here, and 999. Let me put them together here. No, come back. Wait, I'm moving the wrong thing again. 999, there he is. So these little guys, come here, 682. There we go. The 999, I'll put him on top. Ta-da, they're best friends. 682 is huge. Like, he's enormous. So they could just hang out right here. They're on my head, though. Let me come here, you little duders. Let me put them behind me. There we go. Okay, so you guys can look at these two buddies while I read here. So we're going back to 999's entry. The following is a report from an experiment in which 682 is exposed to 999 in the hopes it will curb the creature's omnicidal rage. Not homicidal, omnicidal. SCP-999 is released into SCP-682's containment area. 999 immediately slithers towards 682. 999 elated gurgles. 682 unintelligible groans, growling. What is that? 999 moves in front of 682, jumping up and down in a dog-like manner while calling out in a high-pitched squealing noise. 682. Ugh, disgusting. 682 immediately steps on 999, completely flattening it. Observers were about to abort the experiment when 682 started talking again. What is this? Low noise similar to a light chuckle. I felt good. 999 can be seen crawling up from between 682's toes, up along its side and around its neck, where it clings on and begins gently nuzzling with its pseudopod. A wide grin slowly spreads from across 682's face. Feels so happy. 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 682 repeats the word happy for several minutes, laughing occasionally before escalating into non-stop laughter. As laughter continues, 682 rolls around on its back, slamming its tail upon the floor with dangerous force. Bellowing laughter, "No! Stop tickling!" continues laughing. 682 and 999 continue the tickle fight until 682 finally wears down and appears to fall asleep with what would appear to be a smile on its face. After 15 minutes with no activity, 2 D-class personnel enter the room to retrieve 999. When 999 is removed, 682 immediately wakes up and unleashes an unidentifiable wave of energy from its body, all the while laughing maniacally. All persons within the wave's range collapse into crippling fits of laughter, allowing 682 to escape and slaughter all in its path. Meanwhile, 999 quickly rescues as many persons as it can, taking them to a safe place to recover from 682's laughter wave, while agents suppress and recontain 682. Despite the tragedy that 682 has brought upon the facility, 999 has not shown any fear towards the creature, and in fact has made gestures suggesting it wants to play with 682 again. 682, however, has stated, "The feculent little unintelligible can data expunged and die." Oh, he hates it. Memo from Dr. Redacted. While the test was unsuccessful and ended in tragedy, that had to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. I never thought I'd see the day when I would regard 682 as cute. Please send me a copy of the security tapes ASAP. Well, there you go, guys. There you go. This thing is literally just stealing abilities. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 682 is a nasty, nasty boyo. He is one nasty sir. Okay, so I just looked at, we're at 3 hours and my voice is getting pretty shot about now. I think I might have to amend the title and in stream for today. Maybe it's getting pretty tired from reading and I'm getting kind of overheated as well. And Moo Moo is here to see us again. I think maybe we'll do... Well, the next stream is Lovecraft. It was supposed to be the Lovecraft stream, so I think I'll amend the title to just be SCP and Skyrim. see. Okay, and once again, I'm gonna do the YouTuber thing, guys. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to comment after the stream if you so desire, if there's any comments you want to leave me, but you don't have to. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All of those things help me a ton, but once again, you don't have to do any of them if you do not want to. But it helps me, so just remember that. Oh good, quite a treat. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I was glad to see all you guys out here today, my regulars. And one of my newbies, Xander. I think his name's Xander. Yeah, Xander. Let's see who all was here today. Lost Victorian, Pizza Queen, Kaylee, Crumbling Sanity, Xander, also cosplaying as Agent 47. That was kind of funny. I hope it didn't disrupt you guys, but he's just, it's okay. I don't really mind sometimes. And he listened when I told him. But, who else do we have here? Let's see. I think that's everybody that popped in today. And then we probably have some silent viewers and some VOD gangs. So hello guys, you guys are valid too. I hope you enjoy the stream. Thank you for being here, either silently or for the VOD. Hi Mumu, get over here for some brushies. Oh, she would love that. She loves attention. She's so cuddly. I woke up and she's always like right near me, and before stream, earlier today, well not right before stream, but when I woke up this morning, because I'm back on my regular schedule as a morning baby, I've been waking up at 6 to 7 a.m., which for a lot of humans is unthinkable unless they work. But I love being a morning baby. So I was sitting like kind of cross-legged on the sofa, just catching up on some YouTube stuff. And Mumu, she came up and she just curled up in my little, because I wear skirts usually, and so my skirt was like kind of stretched across my lap, and she just curled up in that little like hammock on my legs. And she's so sweet. She's one of the sweetest cats I've ever known, I think. So, and I've known a lot of cats. Take care and rest that wonderful. Thank you, Carly. Sorry. Thank you, baby, and thank you for being here. Thank you. Mimu, hi, baby. I found this was a good stream. Oh, first of all, I love when you guys greet her. It warms my heart, and I'm sure she'd appreciate it too. And I'm glad you guys had so much fun. I was so glad. I'm glad you guys always seem to like these streams, which makes me really glad. And I think we'll keep this as our usual background here. I think this is a good one to stick with, because I think this will be a reoccurring thing, because one, you guys seem to like doing it. It's not that hard for me to set up, and it's some alternate content for what I usually do. Like, because usually I do games, and I do very like spooky games or very energetic games, very like lore involved games when we go back to Skyrim, because I do a lot of storytelling with Skyrim. I have a lot of characters and they're all interconnected, and I have a lot of mods that are set up, so it's very complex. So I think it's nice to have some content that's just me reading to you guys, you know, and me just kind of blabbering about it too. So I'm always looking for feedback on these streams too, if you guys would like pre-recorded streams as well, but I really like the interaction with you guys a lot, and I learn a lot from you guys, and we have a nice little back and forth. So but sometimes I worry that I blabber in between stories too much, but you guys seem to like it. So yeah, if it kind of, you guys want some streams that are more like I just read and I don't really talk to chat, I can do those too, and they'll probably be pre-recorded, but yeah, it's all up to you guys. Thank you so much for the stream, my queen. It was really interesting and fun. I enjoyed the mix of Skyrim SCP some. I'm so glad. Yeah, everybody seems to enjoy it. I'm so glad. Thank you always for your lovely feedback, guys. It means the world to me to know that you guys appreciate my efforts and you have a fun time here with me, because that's all I want my channel to be, is like a fun, laid-back time. And you guys to feel safe and comfy and have like a refuge away from the world at large, you know, because you guys got to go out there and work and go to school and deal with shitty people and shitty things going on in the world. And I want my community and my channel to be a place where you guys kind of don't have to worry about that for a little bit, you know. And I might not be able to stream every day, but my VODs will still be there, and I will try to be around for you guys as much as possible, but you know, I have a lot of stuff in real life to take care of too. So anyway, yeah, if you guys ever want to poke me about anything or ask me anything, there's my Twitter. You can @me on Twitter. You can leave me comments on YouTube, that kind of thing. So yeah. And of course, if we're having like a free chat stream and you guys want to talk about something, just drop it in there. And if it's pressing enough, drop it during any other stream. But usually I like you guys to stay on topic. It's one of our rules. And make sure to review the rules if you haven't in a while. I haven't. The only thing I did is I sorted them by what I will give you guys warnings, what I will time you guys out for, and what will get you absolutely banned. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty obvious stuff. Just use common sense, just common courtesy, just be nice to each other, and you probably will. But I still do want you guys to read those. You're honestly supposed to read those rules before you chat. But just so you guys know what the ones that will get you banned are, because those are pretty heavy. It's pretty general stuff. No homophobia, no racism, no really nasty, like, mean comments to other chat members, to me. If you're just a bully and you're just a nasty person, yeah, you're gonna get banned. No hatred, none of that kind of thing. And also, don't attempt or dox anyone. Me, the chat, other VTubers, anyone in the world, don't do it. Don't speculate about in real life things. Don't joke about doing it. No, don't. I take that incredibly seriously. I had to ban someone for that. But anyway, yeah. I think it's pretty, and like I said, just use, your own good judgment and that kind of thing. And most of the rules other streamers have is probably a rule I also have, right? It's like standard stuff. So I think that's the, oh, spoilers. That's the last thing I forgot. If I am playing something that I've never played before, or maybe it comes to a day when we're watching like a movie together. I don't think we'll ever do movie watching because I'm not big on movies. But if it's like a moment in a game and it's a game I've never played before and you guys spoil a big plot point, you will get banned. I will ban you. So please. And don't spoil things for other people in chat. It's not just me. It's not just about me. If you guys spoil something for people in chat, I will also ban you. Even if it's something I've played a million times, don't do that shit. That literally, because here's the way, I'm going to get up on my soapbox for a moment here, as I so often do. So why I'm so, vehemently against spoilers is people can literally have life-changing experiences because of certain moments in games, in movies, etc., etc. And you're kind of taking that possibility away from someone when you spoil it for them. Not everyone deals with spoilers the same way, but I have lost count of how many times I've seen something in a video game or read something in a book or seen something in a movie that, because it was unspoiled for me and it was the full effect of it hitting me, literally changed my life, and I'll remember it forever. And it changed my life for the better and that sort of thing. So when you ruin that moment for someone, you don't know what positive impact that could have had on them, what life-changing thing that could have done for them. So don't do it, guys. It's and beyond that, it's rude. It's just rude. It's childish. It's rude to spoil something for someone. And if you're the kind of person that's oh, it's not a big deal for me, cool. Not everyone takes things the same way, and that's fine. That's why we're all individuals. But please be considerate of other people, and don't ruin story twists and heavy plot moments and so died or so this or so. Don't do that, okay? So just be good. You got it? Now give me a high five. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so in my other rules, you guys will go read them. So what gets you timeout, what gets you a warning, it's basic stuff. So anyway, that's enough scolding and all that from me. So yeah, I'm glad you guys had a lovely time. I had a nice time reading to you guys, but my voice is very weak. So I definitely have to go rest it and do some stuff. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be playing some Resident Evil 2. It's been a while, and we gotta get back to a spooky game. And I'm gonna have to dig up more spooky games to play with you guys. I'll probably dig up, of course we have Containment Breach we can play. We have the staircase game that centers around another SCP. I'm gonna have to probably dig up a lot of really good indie games. I don't know if I ever want to do a thing where it's like 3 random games like Markiplier and other big content creators do, but hey, maybe. Some weird spooks would be nice. I mean, maybe I could do that. Because usually when people do like the however many scary games in one video, it's edited content. But when you're a live streamer, it's a little bit different. So I don't know if I could pull that off. It would probably be the sort of thing where I'd have to test all the games beforehand and then kind of group them into kind of related groups and then just play them in different streams, you know? Because there's a lot of really good indie games that are just like one-off, one-shot kind of things that are incredibly well made. There's actually this absolutely beautiful series called the, oh, geez, I can't remember what it's called, but these people made all these indie spooky games, and then they kind of compiled it in this spooky museum. And you can kind of walk around in the museum, and each exhibit is a different game that you can actually play. It is so, like, really well made and just really lovely. And the museum curator is this funny purple skeleton guy, and he's hilarious. So I think you guys would really enjoy that a lot. I can't remember what it's called, but some of you might know what I'm talking about. So it's very, very nice. So yeah. I definitely want to keep that up as a thing for the channel, to play spooky stuff, because I love video games, I love weird spooky stuff, and I think it was Lost Victorian that gave me a suggestion, or I can't remember who it was, but somebody in chat gave me a suggestion to maybe do like reaction things, like Skellies with t-shirts, yeah, our buddies the t-shirt Skellies, eh? But like the what was I saying, like reacting to certain spooky like subreddits and stuff, like pictures, like there's a lot of videos surrounding that, so maybe we could do that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that kind of content, because I'm like, I don't know if this will be like really entertaining for you guys, but a lot of people seem to like when streamers and VTubers do that kind of thing. Like one of the channels I found recently, I think he's called Greg Bro Dude Man. All he does is he pretty much reacts to scary ocean stuff on our thalassophobia, and his videos are fan-fucking-tastic, so maybe you guys would enjoy it, because I get really freaked out. It's not just like me sitting there like, oh boy, look at this sunken ship in the ocean. No, I actually get really freaked out, to the point I like wake people up. So like, yeah, so definitely we can maybe try some of those streams maybe next month, but no promises. No promises. So, yeah. So before I go for the day, although I will be back just tomorrow, this has been quite a week, 3 streams in a row because of the way my schedule was set up, but do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to say to me before I go for the day? Speak now or wait until tomorrow. Or at me on Twitter. You know the deal. I wish YouTube didn't have that delay, you know? I think that's why a lot of people stream on Twitch. It doesn't have the delay. Can I give 173 my number? Sure, but I'm not responsible for what happens to you when you're out of my aura and he's nearby. But sure, I guess. Why are you so cute? Oh, Pizza Queen. Like, I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys get to decide what I am. If I'm cute, if I'm motherly, if I'm mommyly. I think I've yet to someone to call me mommy, but just so you guys know, you can. I don't care. I'm pretty comfy with that kind of stuff, so go ahead if you want to. But yeah, like, you guys get to decide what I am, I guess, if that makes sense. But why am I so cute? I don't know. You guys tell me. I'm not actually asking, but if you guys want to tell me, you can. But thank you. I'm glad you think so. I'm very glad you think so. Well, that's everything for today. I'm gonna put my little bookie away here. Come here, book. Boop. And I'm going to bid you all a lovely farewell, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your days, whatever time of day it may be where you are right now. And I'm glad to see you all here today, and I'm glad you had a nice time. Remember to take care of yourselves and take care of each other and all of that lovely stuff. So until tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. EST, I will see you guys then. Till then, bye. Forehead kisses, mama.